A unique value proposition is a clear statement that explains why your product, service, or offer is better than someone else's and valuable. In simple terms, it's the reason someone chooses you over someone else. It answers the question, what unique value do you bring that someone else does not? The foundation of your unique value proposition, which people call UVP, is knowing your self-worth. When you know and understand your own self-value, you can clearly articulate to others. Without having a strong sense of self-worth, it's hard to explain why you're worthy to other people. Self-worth impacts your confidence, your decision-making, and your perception of yourself and others. So there's a way to figure out your unique value proposition so that you can use it in your business. It'll help you with advertising, promotion, and galvanizing partnerships. To create a powerful UVP, start by assessing your core skills, talents, and passions. What do you do better than anyone else? What problems can you solve for others? What activities make you feel energized and fulfilled? Asking yourself questions like these can really help you set that foundation for your UVP. And if you want help dialing in on your extensive UVP so that you can use this for the next year plus for all of your marketing, promotion, and sales, if you join Arlan's All Access, my membership for entrepreneurs, I teach you step by step how to find your unique value proposition and do a deep dive so you can have it with you and even hand it to your vendors and your partners for them to use as well. Even if you don't join Arlan's All Access, I can teach you right now how to get a strong foundation for your UVP. There are 4 components to a great UVP. Your target audience. Who are you speaking to? The problem need. What problem are you solving? The solution or the benefit. How does your offer solve their problem? And then 4th is differentiation. What makes you different than the next person? What makes you better? There are 3 key steps now that you know that to finding your UVP. Step 1, identify your target audience's biggest pain point. Step 2, clarify how your skills, talents, and passions help solve that pain point. Step 3, highlight what sets you apart from the competition. And remember, your UVP isn't something that you just come up with overnight and you use that for the rest of your life. It is something that takes a while to figure out, has different components to it, and then it changes and evolves over time. That's the most important thing I want you to take from this, because so many people are frustrated that they can't find their UVP. They don't think they understand themselves enough, but it's because it develops over time. So if you can get 80% of it done, you're well on your way. Now, once you have the foundation of your UVP and you have some of these answers already, you can go out and get feedback from people you know, from potential customers, and from people who are meeting you for the first time. Again, this is what I teach you in a deep dive in Arlan's All Access. I give you the exact questions to ask and the exact prompts to use to find that solution. Your UVP is meant to define and clarify your unique value proposition, your value for others. So it's important that you survey people to ask them, does this make sense to you? Is this clear? If I were offering you this, would you understand what I'm offering? Feedback helps you with any gaps or anything that you can do better before you take it out to market. You can keep refining and making your UVP stronger and stronger. Here are 3 ways you can get feedback that's valuable for your UVP. The first way is by surveying. You can get this feedback by surveying people a little bit at a time. You can do focus groups and make it really like official, or you can do one-on-one sessions with people. Ask them to jump on Zoom for 15 minutes, go over your UVP and say, does this make sense to you as a potential customer? When you're doing these types of surveys, you might even incentivize people by saying, hey, when I do launch this offer, you'll get 20% off for helping me out. The way you take this feedback and really use it the best way is you look for common themes. What are you hearing more than once in people's feedback? And maybe even if you don't agree with it, it might be true. So you want to look at that and have like that critical eye. You also want to bring in a friend and say, hey, friend, can you look at this and see if it makes sense to you based on what you know about me and my offer? The 2 most important things with a unique value proposition are that they are clear and simple. Clear and simple. You want to be able to explain it to all types of people in all different types of circumstances. So it cannot be a manifesto. It needs to be a sentence or 2. And again, I'll teach you how to do that in Arlan's All Access on day 1. Your UVP is going to change not just when you evolve, but when the market evolves, your industry evolves, and the offer evolves. So keep that in mind. Now, here's the fun part. These are 3 ways you can incorporate your UVP into your communication starting now. The first is you're going to integrate your unique value proposition into your brand messaging. This is going to be a consistent view of your brand. So this will be across your website, your landing pages, your social media, and your pitch deck and marketing materials. You can also use this in your product development, your marketing strategies, and even in your customer service efforts. And the coolest thing is you can use it in your content. So if you're starting a YouTube channel or you're wanting to build one out and grow it, just like you're watching right now, if you're watching right now, put in the comments, I'm still with you. You can use your UVP, your unique value proposition, to create content videos just like this one. I used my UVP to help create this very video, and I'll tell you how. My unique value proposition is that I can provide clear and accessible, actionable insights into complex concepts. And I make it really simple and relatable to the audience. I bring creativity, practical advice, and a deep understanding of these topics with my experience. And I understand my audience's needs because I study so much of the data and I interact with my audience almost daily. So it allows me to take something that would normally take an entire college course, several months of understanding, more than one book, and a lot of money to learn, and condense it into a YouTube video that's just a few minutes long. So my UVP, my unique value proposition of making something that's complex, simple, and clear, helped me make this video. I was able to take this complex information and translate it into much more accessible content. I'm using relatable terms and accessible stories to help you understand what I mean. And then you can then take that information and explain it to someone else. And I hope this content is valuable to you and that it's helped you think through your UVP. So the next time someone says, what's your unique value proposition, you'll know a little bit more about how to answer it. If you want to deep dive and you want to work with me every single week within my membership, Arlan's All Access, use the link below. Come join us. There are more than 300 members already, and we're having a great time. You want to craft a clear offer and decide on a transformation for your membership. A clear offer is a description of the services or products or both that your member is going to receive when they join. A great offer doesn't just list benefits. It doesn't just list perks and items. It tells you a transformation story. People join memberships to solve a problem, not just to consume content. Think about your journey here with Arlan's All Access. You want to make $100,000 over the next 12 months, right? That's what you came into thinking. You want to solve the problem of not having what you consider enough money. So we're helping you solve that problem within Arlan's All Access. So that's a transformation. You start without $100,000, you end with $100,000. So imagine you were starting a membership for freelancers. You could say, join my membership for freelancers. That's not really an offer. That's a statement. Or you could say, join my membership for freelancers where I teach you how to make $10,000 per month in just 6 months. That's a transformation. That's going from not making that amount for that target audience to making that amount. And just because I've used 2 examples about money transformation, it doesn't mean that your membership has to be about that. In fact, most memberships will not be about money. A clear offer instantly makes your membership more attractive. Focus on the value of the membership and the result of the membership rather than features in the product. This helps potential members understand exactly why they need to join, and it creates that urgency within them. Okay, so how do you figure out that transformation? How do you take someone from A to Z in a period of time? Identify a problem that you want to solve. I said in another video a while back that your job as an entrepreneur is to become a problem solver. If you can become a problem solver, you'll never have to worry about money again. You've thought about your UVP, you've thought about your target audience. Now you're going to say, what is that pain? What is that gap in information, that gap in access? What is that pain point that my target audience in my niche has? So you'll decide on what that pain point is, like the busy moms who don't have enough time. You give them back time by making something that may take an hour, take 15 minutes, or something that they may have to drive to available on their laptop, etc., right? You create a solution for a problem that they have. So the first thing you have to do is decide what is that problem. Then you're going to decide what is the desired outcome that I want to be the solve for this problem. Then you decide how do you articulate that as a transformation. So I know what their problem is. X does not have Y, right? The solution I know for them is I am going to create something that does this for that person or that problem. And then you're going to take them step by step in solving the problem. So your job now is to create the journey for them to get from A to Z, to get from the lack and the issue and the problem to the solution and the have. So you'll give them a step-by-step journey, just like we have in Arlan's All Access. You have a start here, you have that information, and then you go into weeks 1 through 4, and you learn about memberships, you learn about YouTube, you learn about branding, you go through those steps, and then I take you into, okay, now this is how you launch a school membership, step by step by step. And now I'm teaching you here even more specifically, these are the 10 steps that you take to go from not having a membership and making money that way to having a membership and successfully making money that way. So focus on outcomes, not just features. Highlight the result your member is going to have if they go into your membership. Think of it like this journey, this physical journey they're going to walk on. You are their guide, and you're about to take them on a walking tour from this problem to the solution. What does that look like? Be specific. Instead of saying get healthier, you're saying things like we're going to have these 15-minute videos. They're going to be about these topics, and we're going to do this. Your arms are going to get stronger. Your legs are going to get firmer. It's a specific language that you're using as well. So I actually did this with Arlan's All Access. It started out a little vague, where I said, you're going to make 6 figures, $100,000 in the next 12 months. It's very specific, by the way, great offer. But then the how is it with memberships, with YouTube, with learning how to define your unique value proposition, with branding, right? These very specific things that now people know, oh, that's what I'm learning inside the membership. Instead of saying something like, my membership will improve your business, say, my membership will help you gain an extra $5,000 in monthly recurring revenue within 120 days. And you're going to want to make sure that your content and your posts reflect that journey. And we'll get into exactly what you should post and how you should post it in a few videos from now. So let's talk about pricing your membership. Are you going to do monthly or yearly? And what price are you going to charge? And is it going to be free or paid? So there's a lot of decisions to make, but once you make these decisions, they're going to help you for a long time. So within school, you can select to charge someone monthly or annually, and you can have both going at the same time. And when you choose annual, you probably want to have some type of discount. What I have seen is anywhere between 17% discount and 50% discount. So buy 10 months, get 2 free for the full year, or buy 6 months and get the other 6 free. Other platforms have other options and different tiers. School is pretty basic, where it has annual or a monthly, and or free is another option it has. So both have their advantages. The free or the paid model, they both have their advantages. And then the monthly versus annual have their advantages. Regardless if you have a free or a paid membership, you can also upsell. So if you have a free membership, what you could do is provide a ton of value to a lot of people and let them see that value over a few weeks, few months even. And then you have these upsells to a paid classroom section. Pay this amount to get this new course that's advanced, or pay this amount to go to my in-person mastermind. I've done that personally. Or pay this amount to have a 1-hour call with me. I've done that personally. Or you could have a free membership and say, okay, there are 1,000 people in this free membership. We've been working together for 3 or 4 months. It's been awesome. I have space for 20 people to join my paid membership that costs $125 a month. And there I do weekly calls, and we do hot seats, and I have a special advanced course in there that you have access to, and I give you a discount on some software, different things that make that membership even more valuable for someone, and they've seen all the value you've given them in the free membership. So just a few of them may say, yeah, I'll convert over. So pricing, how do we figure out the pricing? The pricing is all about the value, right? Let's say you have a paid membership. What is the content in this membership and how much is there of this content? Are you posting frequently? Are you posting something that's worth something very valuable retail on the outside that you're making more accessible in this monthly package? Are you bundling courses? What are you doing that is giving them this extra value where they say, oh, yes, I'd pay for that? The community. How vibrant do you think this community will be, and how valuable is it to the person? Are there a lot of communities like it already, or would yours be one of the few? A good way to determine this is to say, do I already belong to multiple memberships that are like this, or am I seeking one? A great way to figure out what to offer other people is to decide, what are you missing? What do you wish existed? Right? So your membership can be extremely valuable if you cannot find that membership for that niche. It goes back to what we talked about before in another video about determining your niche. Also, how often are you going to be participating? One of the big parts of Arlan's All Access is that I'm in here every single day. I'm in here for a long time each day because I love it so much, and you get that access to me. But in the real world, it takes weeks to get on my calendar. It's really hard to track me down. I'm traveling all the time. I have multiple companies and investments. And so you have that very close access and proximity to me that is also part of the pricing value. And then we go back to transformation. What transformation are they getting as a member? And what is that worth? Right? You can offer them a discount, but keep in mind that you are offering value. So it's not like they're doing you a favor by joining. They should be getting a lot of value and maybe getting some type of slight discount to that value. So for instance, if you're helping someone make an extra $5,000 a month, you're not going to charge $5 for that necessarily because it's valuable. If you can really make that happen for them, you want to charge something that makes sense for them. You want to charge something like $50 a month or $100 a month or even more than that because you believe within these certain number of months I can make that happen for them. Now, on the other hand, if you're doing something that's more like a arts and crafts or something that is not necessarily going to make somebody money fast, you might think about it being a lower amount. But hey, if you're teaching someone how to become an expert crafter, an expert knitter, where they can go and win awards and go and, get into different competitions, that might be worth more. It certainly would be worth more. So you just have to think about, what would you pay to do the thing that you're offering? A monthly subscription is a great way to have people test out what you're doing. And the cool thing about school is that you can transition over to an annual after some time, and you don't have to pay after a certain amount of time. Up until a certain amount of time, you don't have to pay a full amount. So for instance, if you join for a month, you've been here for a month, you've loved it, and you're thinking, oh, I want to do the annual membership, but I already paid $100 or whatever amount it was when I got here. And I don't know if I want to, was that a wasted month? Well, actually, it's not a wasted month because you certainly would get the full 12 months. But what school does is actually subtracts that money up until a certain amount of time and says, here, it costs this amount, including that 100. So that's actually really good to know for yourself with this membership. And it's really good to know for how you might think about structuring, because you might say, okay, I'm not going to get a lot of annual memberships at the beginning because people don't really know what we're doing, but I will definitely in a few weeks promote the fact that they can always transition into an annual membership. It also gives people lower upfront costs and makes them feel better about their decision, makes them feel more confident about it. And when they feel confident about their decision, then they're more likely to stick around. This also gives you regular recurring revenue, which is very, very fun. It's really fun to see that number in the dashboard on school. Let me tell you, I wake up every morning, I look at the number, it just goes up and up and up. And this is recurring revenue. Now, not every member is going to stick around if they're monthly. Some of them will churn out, meaning they'll leave. But as long as you're continuously bringing more people in and you have a number in mind of where you want to be. Okay, it costs this much per year. I want this number of members at any given time. You can always replenish. Now, a yearly membership helps you reduce churn because most people look at the time period that they have just spent with you before they make the next payment and they say, was that worth it? So let's say you have a monthly membership, you have a member who is on a monthly membership. They will look at the last 4 weeks and say, was it worth that certain dollar amount the last 4 weeks? Did I get a lot out of that? And if they did and they got a ton out of it, they'll stick around. But let's say the following month, they get something out of it, but not as much as the first month because it's like seasonal, right? Let's just say for some reason they got a little bit less value that month and they're looking back. So they're going to look back at those last 30 days and not the last 60. And they're going to say, is it still worth it? I don't think so. And they may churn out. So you'll lose that retention. But if they paid for an annual, they'll look back at the last 12 months from now, and they'll say, was it worth this annual pay? And if you're doing your job well, then yes, it will be. They'll say, of course it was. Of course. Why would I not do this again? Because I got so much value out of that. So it does reduce churn in most cases when you have that annual option. It also gives you that upfront capital that'll help you, especially if you're running ads. If you are running ads at any point in the more advanced stages, and you have people coming in and you figured out, okay, there's a conversion rate, which you can see on your dashboard on school. I know that I need to get 50 people on the site in order to make one sale, and one sale is worth $50 on average. Okay, then that means that I need to not pay more than 50 cents. Start doing the math. If you have the annual in play, which is much more upfront than the monthly, and you have 10% converting, 20% converting. I have had between 36 and 50% conversions into annual starting out. That's a crazy number. So what that means is I can spend a little bit more on ads if I want to. I have not started running ads yet, but I could start doing that. And instead of paying 50 cents per visit with that conversion, maybe I can pay $1 more, or maybe I can have more people do it because the conversions are a little bit different. It becomes interesting then, and it turns into, I mean, it can 3 or 5x your monthly income, really. I mean, I think mine 3x'd my monthly income as soon as school made it possible to have annual conversions. It 3x'd it. Because before I was looking at, okay, if I have 200 new members every month, that's $100 a month. That's $20,000 in new recurring revenue, and it's going to stack each month, and there's going to be some churn. That was an amazing model, and I was very excited about it. But then with the annual, I started making it $600 per year. Again, that number could go up by the time you see this. And that's 50% off for the whole year, but it's 6 times the amount for me up front in that month. And because I have at least a third of those converting, all of that math turns into 3x plus of what I get up front. So if I were to do ads, which I might do, and I was willing to spend $50 in order to get $100 up front, I might say now, well, actually, I'll spend $100 to get $300 up front on average. You see what I mean? Like it really starts to change things. And so I would be very, very focused, and very much so, if you're not a numbers person, get with someone who you trust who's a numbers person to go over this with you. And if you are a numbers person, get real geeky with it because it can really set you on a great path here. A couple of things I want to talk to you about when it comes to pricing. The first thing is called charm pricing. So I don't do this with my own. It's not something I love doing. I never have for some reason, but it actually is a psychological trigger that'll help people make a decision faster and to your benefit. And that is the difference between charging $100, which is something I like to do, versus charging $99 or $99.99. Those numbers actually trigger most people to think that it's worth so much more that they're getting a big discount. That's why you'll see that in grocery shopping. You won't see something as $2, you'll see it's $1.99. Have you ever looked at that and thought, well, why is it that? But it's because if you think about the number in your mind, close your eyes and think about the number $10, and then close your eyes and think about the number $9.99. $9.99, although it's 1 penny less than $10, feels a lot cheaper. So this is something that you can use in your pricing. Your membership, instead of being $40 a month, can be $39.99 a month, or $37 a month, or $39 a month, right? Another technique is to price anchor. Price anchoring, I give you a quick example of that. You go to the movie theater, you have your popcorn in front of you, and you have small, medium, large. Small costs $3, medium costs $5.50, and large costs $6. And you say, well, I'm going to get the large because it's so much bigger than the medium, and it only costs 50 cents more. Well, what they've done is they've actually price anchored for you. They really don't care or want you to get that medium. They want you to get the large because it really only costs them maybe 25 cents for them to even sell that to you. So they're making a ton of money because people are always looking up there. And what they're really trying to do is completely knock the small out of the equation. They don't want small anywhere in your mind. They want that $6 one. Now, if they got 550, they'd be just as happy, but they want that $6 because they anchored it. The same thing can go the other way. Like, let's say you're developing content, or you're speaking on a stage, or you're doing a workshop with someone. Let's do Arlan's All Access. I could say, instead of it's $100 a month or $600 for the year, I could say this program is $1,200 a month. There is an option where you can pay monthly for it, because I've price anchored. I've made someone think about $1,200 a month. Okay, it's a very valuable course, and I'm going to make $100,000 guaranteed, or I get my money back. So it's worth that. But I got to move some money around. I got to think about that. And then so you've already priced it like you have the people paying attention who would pay that. And then you hit them with, oh, but you also have this option of you don't have to have so much upfront costs. You can either pay $100 for the first month, or you can actually pay $600 and take the whole thing, right? So you're price anchoring. You can also use upsell trigger points in your upsells or in your free to paid model. For instance, you could do a discount. You can say, let's say you're doing a sales call for this. So I've seen a lot of people use sales calls for their memberships, especially for their annual. So you could say it costs $100 per month, which is, of course, is $1,200 a year. But on this call, because we had such a great call and because we're having this offer, I'll actually send you the link and you can get it right now for $900. So you're offering this special discount. Another thing you could do is offer a special bonus or premium feature for people who take the annual or who do the thing you want them to do. So let's say the thing you wanted them to do was take the annual because you like that upfront payment and you like the reduced churn. So you could say, of course, we have monthly payments, but if you take the annual, you get a free call with the host, or you get this expert audit of your company, or you will be part of something very special that only 12 people can join. What I've done is I have an in-person mastermind, and I've said that you get a discount from that mastermind retail just by being a member, regardless of what type of member you are. So it costs $14.99 in the real world and retail, and people pay that. Or you can become a member or be a member already, and you get $500 off if you're a monthly member. So if you think about the person on the outside, they're saying, well, I've already been looking at the membership. I might as well join it, get kind of the equivalent of 5 months free, because I'm going to pay less to be there. I guess 4 months. I'm going to pay less to go to this mastermind that I want to go to. And then I say, or if you either transfer over and upgrade to a yearly, or you start as a yearly, you get even more off. And so it's only $3.99 for this $14.99 membership. So on my side, I get $9.99 for something that costs $14.99. So I give a great discount. You got a great discount. And there was all that upfront capital. So you were able to take something and not have to create something brand new, or like take a big haircut at the beginning, and everybody wins. One more thing about free memberships and why it's so great, because I still see people confused about, why would I offer a free membership? That doesn't seem right. Think about if you could offer a ton of amazing value for free in a membership. You're able to go around and just say, hey, join my free membership. You speak somewhere, you have any kind of one-on-one call, you go online, you have a YouTube, you have an Instagram video, you have any kind of post. You could say, I have a free membership that has this transformational offer. And for you, what you're doing is you're maybe doing one course, maybe you're talking, doing some communications in the community, maybe you're doing a live session every once in a while. So you're not going to just like quit your job and do everything you can for this free just yet, but you're giving a ton of value. They're getting a ton of value. They get that network. It's amazing and it's free. You're putting lead magnets in it. Here is the script that you use for XYZ. Here is the template that I have for you. Think about what you could do there, all inside. In order to get this, all you have to do is join my free membership, and now they're inside the membership. So you've done all of that, and then you have this paid membership over here that you don't even have to sign out of school to get to. You could just toggle to it in school. And it costs $125 a month. And inside that, you have an advanced coaching session. You have this, that, and the other. The people in the free membership, you're going to start releasing videos or testimonials about the people in the paid membership. So the people in the free membership are looking over like the fence and they're like, wait a second, I think I want to go try that out. Then they can go try it out for a month, see if they like it, and everybody wins again. When you're thinking about pricing your membership, think about the affordability of your audience. Think about your competitors' pricing if you have competitors, but you probably do. And just think about the value of the transformation you're offering. And when it comes to the affordability, I want to say one more time, in case you didn't hear me the first time in another video, you should not try to sell to broke people. If you want to help someone, you don't sell to them something they can't afford. Instead, you sell that thing to people who can afford it, which gives you the freedom, the financial freedom to then do whatever you'd like with the people who cannot afford it. So a good example of this is, let's say that you have an HR company and you want entrepreneurs who are solopreneurs who are just getting started to have some really great HR services and resources. So you're trying to sell them something that costs $2,000 a month, but they cannot afford that. So they can't pay you. So you're just kind of floundering. Instead, charge the people who are further along, who could use your services, who don't want to pay for an entire new team. They pay you the $2,000, a few of those clients. Then you have the financial stability. And maybe on Fridays, you have an hour-long free video conference with the people who cannot afford you. And you do like really great $1,000 work with them. You see what I'm saying? Like you set yourself up for that. So in your membership, don't charge $5 because you think nobody can afford it. Just find people who can afford it. like change the value of what you're doing so that people can afford it. Or going back to the free membership, that's where that really has a great place, because you can go to that group of those entrepreneurs, those solopreneurs, and you put them in a free membership, but teach them enough that they can then afford you in a few weeks or months, or also invite people who can afford you. Do you see what I'm saying? Make the playing board fair for yourself. Don't play this game on hard mode when you don't have to. Now, in the section, in the school section, you also learn how to set up your community, set up your membership if you're using the school platform, which I highly, highly recommend for multiple reasons that I talk about. So what are you going to do? Well, first thing you're going to do is you're going to sign up for it. So you're going to actually go to school.com, or you're going to go through my affiliate link, and you're going to sign up for a school hosting that you get to have. And that's where you're going to have all of your membership features. Then it'll give you a 14-day free trial. If you want to have a more customized URL, then you have to pay for it. Then you do not get to have the 14-day trial. So I actually did that myself, but you don't have to do that. And then you're going to go and start to just populate a few things. So you're going to populate your about page. Your about page is your landing page. It's your sales page. And if you do it right, you actually don't need another sales page for this. So you can actually save money on another landing page and time, and like hyper focus people's attention. So you can put up to 6 items here. That can be a video or a photograph. And what I've done is I've included, I'll talk about the video in a second, but I'll tell you this. I've included a lead magnet within these 6, and you can experiment with this if you want to. So there are some videos I have on YouTube where I say, I'm talking about how to use ChatGPT to generate ideas for your membership. and I say, go to the link below, which is this link to this about page for school, and you'll find the script, the exact prompt that you can put in to help you brainstorm. And so what someone does is they have to go here. So they're actually on my sales page to find that lead magnet. I think it's pretty clever, something that you can do. You can do this with a couple of lead magnets. The rest of it is this very first video, you want it to be something that catches the eye and that people can pay attention to. It can be a minute long. It can be you on your phone just saying, welcome, how you doing? Thanks for being here. This is what you get. Or it could be what I've been experimenting with is changing and swapping these out. So I actually have a 1 hour training session about memberships. It's pretty high level, but it introduces the concept to you. But that's what I have as my main video so that you kind of sit here and watch this webinar style replay. And by the end of it, I'm hoping that you're just moving the mouse over just ever so slightly and you're going ahead and joining where this join button would be right here. So there's multiple things you can do. I also have a commercial that I've put here. The reason that it moves like that is because I actually uploaded this to Loom, Loom. And when you upload to Loom, it gives you that animated GIF instead of just that static thumbnail because this is a YouTube link. So you can use YouTube, Loom, or Vimeo, and any of those work. And I use Vimeo the most, I'd have to say, across my school. We're going to talk about pricing and everything, but this is just to let you know what you do inside of it. So once you've already started, so you get your about page, this part here is very visible. So it's just a few characters, but you figure out exactly what you want to say there. You can also have 3 links. Now, when this is signed out in a private group, people do not have access to this. So then you have this section, which is about, as of the time of this taping, about 1,000 characters, including spaces. And what I have done is I went, because it was recommended, I went to see some of the most viewed and highest paid school memberships. And I said, what are they doing? What are they doing? And are they using emojis? And how are they listing things? And then I used ChatGPT to help me make a similar description. And so that's what you could do. You could actually take my description, copy it, paste it into ChatGPT, and say, use this as an inspiration for my membership about dot, dot, dot. And it'll probably do something very specific to this, and you'll ask it to be a little bit less on the nose, and you'll find your own way and your own footing. Then you'll see the leaderboard here, which is really great. And coming back over to the community, this is where you're going to post. So you can have up to 3 posts that are pinned, and you can just swap these out as you need to. I like to keep the welcome one there the whole time. I don't really like to move that one. And then I'll have these 2 for myself. One's going to be around for maybe a month or so or a couple of weeks. And then this third one is going to be, I may switch it out 2 or 3 times a day if I really want to. So right now, this is a big member win. So I wanted to really focus on that and give her flowers. And then I might put my own announcement up, and then I might put something up that's coming up in the calendar, et cetera, et cetera. And so you really want to, this is the lounge. This is the heart of everything. This is where people are getting to know each other and having a good time and learning so much from each other. And some people are even meeting each other in person. So you really want to help foster that. I don't answer everything and I don't like everything on purpose because it's not just my membership, it's everyone's membership. So I like to see it kind of flow and I just oversee it. You could even have someone on your team or someone that is a member helping you moderate. And that's something else that we have at Arlan's All Access. Then going into the classroom, you could have any number of classes. I've seen a really great model is to have just 3, not to have all these that I have, just to have 3 sections here. And it's like a start here, it's a bulk of your information, and then this may be an Ask Me Anything or a toolbox or something like that. And that is just clean and clear and understandable. But you can build it over time. The main thing you want to do is make it easy for people to find things, to understand what they have, and try not to overwhelm them. Then you have the calendar. You can add different things here. You can say, I want to have a weekly call where people get to ask me questions, or a weekly time where I teach. So maybe on Mondays I teach this concept for 30 minutes and I prep for it on Sundays. And then I put the replay into my classroom. And then maybe on Thursdays is when we get to have a Q&A where people get to ask me questions about it or anything else. That's a good example of what you could do. And then you just populate this. You'll also notice in Arlan's All Access, we have more than just myself doing these different ones. We have different great members and other experts who've come in to give more value. And that's something that you can also think about over time. Does not have to all be you. Whether you partner with someone in Arlan's All Access, which I highly recommend, or you invite them to be experts in your membership, or you partner with a friend or with a coworker or something to that effect. And then the member section is great because you get to see, you can search for them, you can do your own kind of searching as the host of it, and it's really, really great. And then leaderboards tells you a great story about who is getting these points. You can help them unlock different things. So you see here in my level 2, you unlock the ability to post when you get to level 2, just 5 points, meaning 5 times somebody likes your post or your comment. You get answers to burning questions, which is in the classroom, and the helpful tools, which are both in the classroom. And the way that I did that was I started a new course, and you have 5 options of how you can set them up. I selected level unlock, and I selected a level. And I looked at the leaderboard and clicked on the question mark to see how many points are needed for each level. And I said, okay, what do I want that journey for a new member to feel like? Yes, I wanted to take a little time for them to be able to get into the Ask Me Anything because I want them to develop the questions before they just kind of go there and don't get a chance to tinker around a little bit. Another thing I want to show you is in the settings. You have a lot of options in the settings and they kind of change and evolve over time. So this may even be different by the time you see it. But you have a lot of things you can do. You can do the custom URL I was talking about earlier. You can change your pricing. You can do annual or monthly and, edit that. You can have a free account. And then these plugins. So the 2 plugins I want to tell you about briefly. One is the auto DM to new members, really, really helpful. You go in, edit, you toggle it on, and you have this ability. Now, in this section, I have this copied, so you can copy and paste it, including these hashtags for you. And then the other one I wanted to show you, unlock posting at level 2. You could also do this for chatting. If you didn't want people to be able to DM them each other, you could say, okay, I think spam may happen, so I'll wait to their level 2. I don't do that because I want them to be able to respond to me and, have people reach out. But I do like the idea of having to wait until level 2. So if you are someone who has not been able to post and you're wondering why, it's because you're still at level 1, which means you haven't introduced yourself and received 5 points of 5 likes, or you haven't commented on a couple of posts. And then as soon as you get those 5 likes, which takes a second in this membership, you unlock the ability, then you can make your own posts. Right now is 2 per day is the maximum. It may even be 1 per day by the time you see this. And then you have the ability to get all of these other things we were talking about here. So you can get this AMA, you can get the helpful tools, apps, and websites, and then you can do this really great section here where you learn a ton about YouTube, mindset shifts, and tactical step-by-step for these all other topics. So you're able to do this with your membership where you can add some really powerful things. Like I have level 7 allows you to get a one-on-one call with me for free that normally costs $999 inside of Classroom, and so on and so forth. Speaking of that, the last thing I want to show you, and we'll come back to this in another video, is these other 4 options. You can have it open to all members, a level unlock, or a buy now. So we're going to talk about buy now in another video. You can also have it as a time unlock or private and only specific members can see something. That's really cool if you have let's say you have regional directors or you have something where you want just a certain group to be able to go in and look at the resources and materials. Community is the most important part of your membership. In fact, I like to use the word community instead of membership when I'm thinking about the value that I'm going to be giving to my members. You want this to be a strongly engaged and valued group of people so they can stay inside of your membership, so they can have the transformation that you've offered them, so that you can share that transformation with other people and then they come into your membership. Also, it's hella fulfilling. It's really fulfilling to see members in your membership getting something of value out of the community that you have helped foster. There's no other way to say it. Like, it's just fun, exciting, and it's heartwarming. So you want to make that possible by fostering that as early as possible, beginning with the onboarding. Make the environment welcoming and inclusive. Welcome new members. You can do this on the community tab of school. In the community tab of Arlan's All Access on school, you'll notice that I have an evergreen post, a pinned post that does not change, that says welcome and introduce yourself. That is because you want to welcome your new members. Every single day, you want them to see that, and then you want other people to see that and welcome them too. You'll also notice in the Start Here section of Classroom that I have community guidelines spelled out. That is another way not only to give the guidelines, but to make people feel welcomed and that they're part of a community. They're part of some sort of town. And there are rules and guidelines that are helping them have a fun time while staying safe. Make sure those guidelines are simple, clear, and fair. And remember, we learned this in an earlier video. You can go to the plugins section of settings and you can have an automated welcome message welcome every single new member on its own with something that you want them to know. In my case, and I have the template in the script for you that you can use. In my case, I want them to know that they're welcome and I'm happy to see them. And also I want to say that I want to help you navigate. That's a good way of saying, I want to help you navigate the community or help you navigate the membership. First thing is reply to me and tell me XYZ. In my case, I say, reply and tell me how you found out about the membership. That helps me also know where to promote more. Where are people finding me? The second thing I say is, here is the link to the welcome intro community post so that every single person who joins has a chance to go there, introduce themselves, get a few points on board, literally, so that they can then post after having 5 post likes. You also want to treat your community board like a garden. So you want to go in and you want to tend to it. You want to look around at it, see everything is good, everything is being given the right amount of nurture, people are being nice to each other. You also want to prune. There may be some posts that are spam that go against your guidelines. So you can get in touch with the person who wrote it and say, this is against our guidelines, a gentle reminder, and then you can delete as you need to, or go here if someone is doing all caps, or, you just want to prune it like it is your garden and you want it to be this lovely garden where people get to stroll. You can also have categories within community so people know exactly what topic and what category that they can post under. That actually helps them post because they know how to stay on topic, and then it helps other members find things faster. When you get this bustling community, especially a free one that has maybe more than 1,000 people in it, you're going to have people posting left and right, and it's just going to become overwhelming. And remember, the number one reason people leave a great membership is because of overwhelm. So you don't want that to happen in the classroom or in the community. So if you have these different categories, people feel like they can take a breath. Maybe they left for a few days, they came back, and they can just push that button, that category that's interesting to them, and find everything that's under that. So you'd want to have those first of all and name them properly. And then you also want to tell your community either in that welcome message on a classroom class in the Start Here or in the community itself, these are the categories and this is how you use that. I like to have one that says Arlan's announcements so that I can always put mine into a category that's very specific. I can always find mine. And when you're using the more advanced features of school that let you pin your posts or other people's posts to your individual classes, that comes in handy too, because then you can find a post that's about a class that would be interesting to that or is directly related. You could then pin it from the community into that class specifically. So when I go to try to do that, I don't have to go everywhere and look at thousands of posts. I can just go into Arlan's announcements and know exactly where to find it. You can also search on school in the community tab to look for different keywords. You can also search in the members tab to look for different locations of people, different interests that they share, etc. Another thing I like to do is use that leaderboard. That leaderboard is really great gamification. You get a point by getting a like on your community posts or your comments. So this is meant to help foster people giving value add. Sometimes it can turn into people spamming. So you just pull back on that by explaining that there are these guidelines, no more than a certain number of posts per day per person, or some other guidelines that stops spamming. You might also ask one or two of your members who are on the leaderboard to be kind of a hall monitor for you, to give a gentle reminder to those people who might be spamming and not even realizing they're doing so. But we have a leaderboard challenge, a monthly leaderboard challenge to say who is engaging the most. And it's very friendly, although it's kind of, we have this friendly competition going, and it helps people have more activity. And the more activity you have, the higher you rank in school, which can be interesting for you if you're looking for people to discover you. But also, the more people engage, especially on a day-to-day basis, the more likely they are to stay. And once you have people in, you want to maintain them and retain them. So you do not want them to churn out. Another thing you can do is give a poll or a survey, which is available on school. You can survey members something funny, something fun, or something serious about a new feature or about where they are in their journey. And that fosters a ton of engagement because people like to have their opinions heard one way or the other. One more thing I do is a member shout out. I do this in two ways. One way is a member might post something that I think is a huge win or something that would be very interesting for other people, either to inspire them or to inform them. And I will use one of my 3 pinned post sections and post them and pin them for about a day or 12 hours so that they get all that love and that amplification, and that person can also be an inspiration, a beacon out. Another way I do it is by creating a post for them. I may say, shout out to ... for doing this, or shout out to these groups of people for winning the leaderboard competition for this month, or being the best affiliate for this month. I create something where you want to see your name in lights, you want to get your flowers. And it's easy to do that with our members because everybody is so wonderful and helpful, and it just adds a little more fun to it. You can also do this by having live events. And when I say live events, I simply mean having Zooms on a regular basis. Maybe you have office hours, maybe you have classes, maybe you bring in experts to interview. You might have office hours or hot seats. There's a few ways you can do this, right? But you're creating these live events within the calendar that are bringing people back. That is not something they're getting somewhere else. That's what makes you so valuable and so unique, is your ability to do that. Remember, I talked about this earlier where I said it's really hard to get on my schedule, but I'm in school and in Arlan's All Access all the time. So when I have these live sessions, people usually pay thousands of dollars to have these sessions with me, or they wait months or weeks to have these sessions. So by having these group sessions within Arlan's All Access, at least once a month, if not several other times, that adds so much value. So you can do that too. They want to have proximity to you, maybe to other experts, maybe to people of influence, people that you can convince to come in. There's an unlimited amount. Let's say that you reach out to somebody who's a wrestler because you love wrestling and your membership is about wrestling. Maybe if it's just you or your friend reaching out to that person on Instagram, they're going to be like, they're going to ignore it, or they're going to be like, no, I can't have a Zoom call with you. That doesn't really work with my time. But if you write to them and say, I have 700 people inside of a free membership and it's all about wrestling, and you're our favorite wrestler, would you come in for 15 minutes and talk to us? People go crazy and it's a free membership. They might consider that, right? So that's the kind of psychological aspect to it. You can also create accountability partners or accountability groups. That's another big way of having people wanting to stay in because, hey, I don't want to leave this great group that I've fostered. So we did this very early on with Arlan's All Access. We immediately got people in breakout rooms in Zoom. We got people DMing each other and talking to each other. And there was just a lot of organic friendships and business friendships created that to this day just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And you can't put a price on that. That is something where you're building your network within Arlan's All Access, and you'll never forget that, right? And that's just something that adds value that is just invaluable. You can also have other people doing events for you and organizing things like this. This is what we do in Arlen's All Access all the time, where someone else is like an expert at something or learning something or just interested in something and they're great at it. And there are 10, 20 members who also want to do that thing. So I say go for it. We'll put it in the calendar. It'll be an official thing. And I'm very particular about it. I get a lot of requests, but if you can have that going, that also adds just an immeasurable amount of value while not taking up so much of your own time and your own IP. Your membership can be hopping, it can be happening, and it can be so rewarding for you and for your members. Just think through what are some different creative things that I can do. Try not to overwhelm them or yourself, or you might have extra churn that is not very good for your membership. It's better to do a few things really, really well than to just give them everything because you want to say that it's more valuable. Just keep that in mind. Have fun with it. Create the membership in the community that you would want to be a part of, and you will be very, very successful. One of the things you want to do inside of your school membership is create consistent content. You want to have a strategy for this content. It should be high quality and varied. You'll want to put this on a consistent plan. So how do you have a clear, consistent plan? First, you're going to set content goals. Define what your content is aiming to achieve. Are you trying to help your members learn a skill, have a full transformation, set a goal? Setting your clear goals for the week, the month, the year, really important. Then you can think about some content themes. That actually makes it easier if you're having trouble thinking of what to post. So these themes can be around seasons or events or holidays, back to school, the end of the year, new you type of thing. You can have these different themes that are already really set in place for you that you work around. You don't have to do this. It's only really if you need something to help you as a guardrail. Then you think about the type of content you want to provide. And again, this will be a variety of these different types. Are you going to do recorded content on video and on audio? Are you going to do live sessions? Will you do downloadable resources, spreadsheets, guides? Everything that I've just listed to you, I have done on Arlen's All Access. You can see them in different ways. So I would encourage you to look around, especially week 1 through 4 in the classroom, and look at the bottom of the page to see all these different resources that I have. Look at the top of them to see the videos. There's even some audio here and there. And then I'll do live sessions, which you can find inside of the calendar, which is another example of your content. So going back to these themes, let me give you an example to help you with that if you're not going to theme it around a season. Let's say you have a financial literacy membership of some sort. Your themes could be these pillars of budgeting, investing, and financial independence. Your content and resources could include budgeting worksheets, investment tutorials, or live Q&A sessions. And when I say or, I also mean and. So it could be all 3 of those things. The next thing you want to do is create a content calendar. This calendar is your guide because your calendar may change. Mine changes all the time. When I first started Arlen's All Access, I think I had 6 months worth of a calendar created. Most of that has changed, but it did help me get started. It helped me know, hey, I could do it this way if I need to. And therefore there's this guide. And if I need to stray from that, I can, but at least I have this anchor in the middle. This calendar would outline the days, the times, and the names of the content that you have. Now, what you could do is plan out in the next few weeks what you will release. So this could be by the week or bi-weekly, but you definitely want something every month because you have a monthly recurring membership. Even if it's free, people are wanting to come back and you don't want them to churn out. Then you're going to say, can I do 1 week where I give a video, and then the next week I give a downloadable PDF, and then the next week I do a live session, etc. Now, you may compress this into a shorter amount of time. So some of you will say, I'll do this week, and then the next week I'll do this, and the next week I'll do that. And some of you will say, I am going to release something every other day. And so you can compress that time. Or you might say, I'm doing 2 big releases twice a month. One will be a video, one will be a workbook. Here's a huge hack that I want you to know about. You do not have to sit and record videos or create worksheets or work with ChatGPT for hours on end, day after day after day. And you can still create a ton of content. So what you would do instead of every single day at 9 a.m., I'm going to do this for 2 hours. Instead of that, you say, okay, let me get some frameworks in place. Let me get some templates in place. Let me think about what I can do to shorten that time. And then I'm going to batch my content. I'm going to do a few things at once. For instance, what I do with YouTube is that I record 3 or 4 videos at a time. I will set aside maybe 2 hours on a weekend and I will record 3 to 4 or even more videos at one time. This is because I used to do one every single day and I'd have to set up and put the lights on and get the thing set up. The sound had to be perfect and I had to do this and I had to prep for it. And I would be on this continuous cycle. And because I like to release new things almost every day, it was becoming a lot. And I did not want that to be the case. I didn't want to become a prisoner of something that was supposed to be fun. So instead, now I say, okay, Saturdays or Sundays when I have a chance, I'm setting aside a couple of hours and I'll record a few videos. You can do the same with other types of media, and you can do the same for your membership. Now, remember, in the calendar section of your school platform, you can go in and set up different dates, type in the titles, links to the Zooms or whatever you're going to use for your platform, and you can have different things set up in a row. You can look at this as a calendar or as a list by clicking through different features in the calendar, and you can then share this with your membership and let them know, hey, maybe in that welcome video or from time to time, you keep reminding them, check out the calendar because we're adding things all the time. Another thing I'll tell you, I think is a great idea, is when you do a Zoom, when you're editing the Zoom, select the feature that says to have people register for it. And then when they click on that blue link that you give them in the calendar, they will need to register in order to see your video. Some people will register in advance. This will help them get a reminder and email, and it will help you see how many people are signing up to go to the event. And then some people will wait to the event itself. When I say event, I just mean live Zoom, and they will register at that time. And then afterwards, you will have those email addresses of who registered for it. Some of them will be people who came to it, and some will be people who didn't. But that's actually really helpful too. You use that just on the side, use that too for any kind of webinars you're going to have to promote your membership. So you can keep going back to those emails and saying, hey, you went to my webinar a couple of weeks ago. Did you want to talk to me about my membership? Downloadable resources. I love these actually. I love adding these. So what I'll do is I will have a video, maybe it's a replay, maybe it's a video like this, and then I will upload that video to rev.com, rev.com. Then I'll have Rev do an AI transcript of it. I'll take that downloaded AI transcript. I'll go over to ChatGPT. I'll attach it and I say, analyze this document and give me the top 10 takeaways. There's some other prompts that I'll do, but it'll start to give you these different resources. I'll copy and paste that into a PDF, and then I put that PDF document into the classroom underneath that video as a resource. You can take one piece of content and turn it into several different types of resources so that your members can learn from you and have different ways of learning. So you have these takeaways. I don't have to watch the whole video if I don't want to, or I can watch the whole video, have the takeaways with me that help me learn better, etc. And you also get to give them more value without having to create new IP and new content. So I highly recommend thinking through some creative ways that you can do this. Can you make a checklist for them? Can you make a top 10 takeaways? Can you make a spreadsheet? ChatGPT can also make downloadable spreadsheets for you. They can't be extremely complex, but they can do some good work where you might have something if you're teaching somebody about finance, you're teaching someone how to paint, you're teaching someone something, or you're trying to stay organized. You can go to ChatGPT and say, create a downloadable spreadsheet that I can give to my members about XYZ, and see what it does. Play with it a little bit and see if you can prompt it enough to get what you're looking for. You want worksheets, templates, scripts, anything of that nature is going to help add value to your membership. Now, remember, we're not trying to overwhelm anyone. So we are doing this with a light touch. So I'm going to talk about something that I'm doing right now. And if you're watching this now, if you're watching this in the first few days of this 10-part series, you'll see this is something that you can do. So what I'm doing is I'm dripping content out. What that means is like a faucet that is a little leaky, a little water comes out at a time. So I have a 10-part series. This is one of those videos in that 10-part series. Instead of releasing the 10-part series at the same time like Netflix, I'm releasing it like a regular weekly kind of thing. So you got the first 5 videos in the first 5 days. Now you're getting the next 6, 7, 8 videos over several days. It's all happening in 1 month because that's one thing I did put a parameter on, but it's not all at once. So that members come back day after day after day to watch and anticipation. And that's something that you really want to have. You don't want to have, okay, here's everything you need on day 1. I'm going to leave. You want to have a little bit of anticipation. Another reason I'm doing this way is because I'm batching my content. I did not want to do this every single day constantly. So I batched the first 5 episodes, and now I'm batching another couple of episodes, and then so on and so forth. Also, tease future content. Again, you're trying to have this retention where you're keeping people in. You want them to have something to look forward to. That's another reason the calendar is so helpful, because you might be in September and you might have something that you plan for October, at the end of October, that people stay in just to go to. Remember, you can always poll and survey your members to see what they're looking for. You don't necessarily want to do every single thing that everybody asks you for, because you might just be like an octopus doing everything, but you can definitely poll and see what is the consensus, what is helpful. When you put something out, ask them, was that helpful? Ask for real feedback. And it may be that you spend a lot of time working on something that not a lot of people thought was valuable. So you know that for next time. And it may be that you put something out that you didn't know would be so popular, that is so exciting to people and they want more of that. So constantly have that conversation with your members. I want you to remember that you want to focus on evergreen content, meaning you want the content for the most part to be something that somebody can watch 6 months later and still find value in it, because you're having your members join at all times. Even if you're doing launches, where you're closing off the membership for a while and then opening the doors again, it's different times for different members. So you want to think about how things can be a little timeless. Like, for instance, I just said something about September and October. I happen to be recording this in September, a little bit of giveaway, but I didn't give a date. I just said, for instance, a September and October, because anytime you watch that, if you're watching this in March 2025, hi, if you're watching it, send me a DM and tell me that you are. Then you can say, oh, she's talking about a month, some month in the year. I don't have to kind of be transported away from the point of it. So I'm being a little meta in this part of it, but I'm telling you, for your sake, the more you can be ambiguous, a little vague, the better. Also, try to be organized with your content. Also, think about looking at your content from time to time from a different lens and getting it a little bit more clear. I do that. So I put content out there and then I give it a few days and I come back and with fresh eyes and I say, is this easy to navigate? Does this make sense? Is this in the right order still? Is this too much? Can I take something away from it or add something to it? Create that content buffer so that you always have a little bit to offer in advance in case you get sick, go on vacation, or something happens in life that you don't know is going to happen, so that you're not in this situation where you don't have any content for weeks on end. Always try to have a little bit extra than you need. Let's talk about marketing for your school membership so you can bring more members in. I know that you want to talk about this topic. Now, we already have below this section a section that talks about monetizing your membership and talks about promoting and marketing your membership. Go check that out as well. But we're going to talk about it a little bit here too. We've spoken about this in your niche, where you're going to talk about your target audience. What are their demographics and their psychographics? We're going to really hone in on what that is. This is where the rubber hits the road when it comes to your UVP. It comes in handy to know who your target audience is so you can try to reach them. And remember, I teased at this. I said it's going to come in handy during your marketing phase. Here we are. Social media. Yes, social media is our friend. We think about Instagram, TikTok, and others. You're not going to necessarily try to do everything. In fact, if you try to do too much, you're going to get burned out or frustrated and it won't work out. I suggest you choose one that you're really interested in. Is it Instagram? Is it video or is it writing? So For instance, some people can do LinkedIn and never have to post a video. You can post videos on LinkedIn, which actually are doing really well right now, but you don't have to. It can be about typing. It can be on X, Twitter, it can be on different social media. It can be video, which is very compelling. It can be written word. And the point of it is, what do you enjoy? What can you learn about and keep learning about and iterating and doing more? Then you create engaging content, which is easier said than done, but that's something that you can learn about a ton about on the YouTube side of things in Arlan's All Access. That's what we're learning right now. You can head on over to Ty's YouTube expert section of this classroom, and you can learn from me and Nolan Molt in the weeks 1 through 4 bonus about YouTube and some other things that I have about YouTube. There's so much you can do with YouTube. That's why I talk about it so much in this membership. YouTube has probably helped me bring in at least $30,000 in membership fees in the first 6 weeks that I had Arlen's All Access. So it's something that constantly, every single day, people are discovering. They're watching hours of video sometimes and watching so many videos that they're getting to know me and they want to work with me. You may have even found me on YouTube. If you found me on YouTube, then I think you should really consider having your own YouTube channel for your membership to promote your membership. Because if you found me that way, maybe other people will find you that way. You also want to engage with your followers, people who comment, people who like. So when you post on Instagram, for instance, let's say you post a video that is about the topic of your membership. You don't necessarily have to talk about your membership, but the topic of it. Let's say 20 people like it. Well, and 2 people comment on it. So you could respond to those comments and that'd be great. But the next level thing that you could do is something that I do, which is go to every single person who liked your post. Go into their profile, look at their profile, and then go into messages. Then click the audio record button and give them an audio message and say, thank you so much for liking my post. I took a look at your profile. It looks awesome. Thank you for that. Maybe mention something like your dog is so cute, or that's a great vacation you went on, or whatever, so they know that it's really you. And then you say something like, I'm doing so much in my membership around this topic. I think you would really like it. Here's the link. And then you paste the link after you do that. And I would love for you to check it out. If you don't mind, it would be great for you to check out my membership, see if it's something that you like. It costs $29 a month. There's no contracts, et cetera, et cetera. So I do that. Now, if you have a free membership, it's even easier to do that. So you can say, I have a free membership. I would love for you to join. There's no strings attached. We're just talking about this topic that you like. I'd love for you to check it out, right? So there's scripts and things like that in this section, but that's where you can start. If you're working on LinkedIn, you want to spend a few days kind of priming the pump where you're putting up posts about this specific topic. You're getting some feedback. You're going out. Remember what I said, if you want to be interesting, you need to be interested, which means that you don't just go on a platform and ask people to like your stuff. You go on a platform and you go look at other people's posts and videos and you like and you comment and you become part of the ecosystem of that platform. You learn as much as you can about the behaviors of that platform. And it really is like learning the algorithm of it. That's why you don't want to have a ton that you're doing, especially at the beginning, because you do need to spend some time researching that. Make that a goal of yours, to do a little bit deeper dive of something. If you're on Instagram and you have 300 followers, that means you can have 3,000 followers. You just need to put more time into it. You just need to look at it from a different angle and to look at it from the perspective of some of these followers could become members in my membership. And that's a great relationship to have. So it is worth it for me to do the research and to learn more about this. Another way you can market is through your email wait list and mailing list. This is a big, big side of things that has helped so many people. You can get your mailing list going by having lead magnets. Somebody gives you their email address in exchange for some valuable resource. So we talked about resources in the last video, and that type of resource that I described, actually, if you pulled one of those pieces of resources, you could actually make that a lead magnet. Now, a cool hack you could do is have a free membership and put some lead magnets into the classroom or into the community and have people on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitter, you say, okay, I talked about this subject. It's a cool topic. If you want to have a free checklist that'll help you save time, it took me 20 hours to research this. I put it into a free checklist for you. Go to this link, go into the classroom and you can get it. It's a free membership. Then you have your free membership. You have the checklist inside of your classroom in this free membership, and you draw people into that free magnet. Now they're in the free membership, and they can then be part of that ecosystem. And later on, you may be able to upsell them into something else. You can use ConvertKit, also known as Kit. You can use MailChimp. You can choose from different platforms for your mailing list. But the point of it is to start creating your mailing list now in some way or another. If you do this through your free membership, like I just described, you actually can get the email addresses of each person. You could actually kind of copy those email addresses, put them into your MailChimp or your ConvertKit. Or if you don't want to pay for an additional MailChimp or ConvertKit account, school lets you mail your entire membership list twice a week, essentially, every 72 hours. The way that you do that is you make a post that is public, and as you're going to publish it, you toggle on email this to list because you selected that post to be one that goes out as an email. And so again, think about this. Let's say for weeks you've had a free membership. You've been bringing people into that membership through lead magnets and through calls to action so they can have this free valuable resource. Then twice per week, you put a post up that's also an email to those same members that tells them about the upsell that you have in a natural way, organic way. Have you been having a great time in this membership? There's more. There's more I can offer you. In this section of these 10 videos, there is a bonus video for my new community playbook. If you look at the bottom of that page, you will see a script that you can download to help you go from free to paid memberships, to help you reach out to people who are on your free membership and see if they want to go to paid or to have the upsell that you give them. You can also partner with someone who has a similar audience to the one that you want to see your offer, and you can either pay them to sponsor a newsletter or to get in front of their audience in some way, or you can do an exchange and say, hey, if I can go on your podcast, your YouTube show, or get in front of a live Zoom audience, I'll do the same with my audience. I'll bring you into my membership and we'll tell them that you're actually going to make an offer at the end of your conversation. You can use that to your advantage. Major deals have happened through partnership and collaborations. Major monetization for memberships have happened because people got together and didn't just try to do this on their own. They said, what are the 2 or 3 or 10 different people out there who have an audience of various sizes of people who would love what I'm doing? Let me contact all of them because some of them might respond. And if they respond, we can do some creative things. That doesn't mean I have to pay them anything. It could mean an exchange of value because we both want the same thing. And then your audience and your members get a value out of that because you get to bring in these other experts and these other points of view that they may not have had access to. Because remember, membership is about proximity. It's about community and it's about proximity. So you're going to think outside the box and think through. So I want you to write down the name of 5 people who you would love to get in front of their audience. And I don't mean Dwayne The Rock Johnson or Oprah Winfrey. I mean people in your lane who are somewhat attainable. You can also host a webinar or a webinar every single week. You can do that for several weeks. Bring people in, teach them something like a workshop, and then at the end of that workshop, offer them access to learn a lot more or get this certain value or certain resource inside of your membership. I've done that too. You can also turn your webinar into evergreen, but I highly recommend that you make your webinar live for a few times before you make it evergreen if you're just starting out, because you're going to learn so much from that feedback from the audience. You're going to get better as a presenter and making the offer, and your offer will get better. But if you put it on evergreen right out the gate, then you don't have a chance for that alchemy to happen. When you're promoting and marketing your membership, you can also do things like offer special pricing for a certain number of people who come in first. You can offer different discounts. Another thing you can do is put a time crunch around it. So you can say in the next 72 hours, anyone who signs up will get a free 15-minute call with me on Zoom and we'll go over your website. something like that, right? Whatever it is about, whatever's in your lane. So you can do something that's about the next 100 people, the next 10 people. They get it for this price. It's going to be $5. This is what Ayana did. It's going to be $5 for the first 10 people. And then the next 10 people will be $10. And maybe it'll go up after that. That's a really good way. I think she got 14 members in like a day when she did that. And remember, this is monthly recurring revenue when you're doing a paid membership. And so that adds up. Also, think about, is there a way to do a holiday promotion? Again, is there a way to do a New Year, New You promotion? Something around graduation, about the summertime, holidays. Think seasonally with what you do, even if what you do is not normally thought of in that way. So you have a lot to start with. And what I would recommend is looking below this section and looking at more of the resources that I have for you in this module, because there's so many scripts, prompts, and templates that I have created for you, and I'll continue to add. Great. So let's just kick things off with a little bit of your background. So where are the receipts? What do you want to brag about?
So, background. This year I'm about to close $1 million in sales for a client I'm working with. Um, Started in 2016, went from someone who hated selling, that's giving away coaching for free, invested 10 grand in a sales coach program. And then I started selling from there as a necessity, and then develop a belief that it's one of the best things we can do is sell people the right things to help them change their lives.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that. And so you've helped people, and you yourself have done, totals of millions of dollars over the years.
Correct.
And you specifically do online, like Zoom calls. Is that what your focus
Zoom
is?
calls and a few in-persons. I haven't done a lot of in-person since 2020,
Mm-hmm.
but mainly Zoom calls. I've done close to 3,000 Zoom calls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the beginner, so the beginner meaning the beginner who is just dipping a toe into these types of sales, they may have a different expertise, and
Mhm.
they definitely have an offer, something to sell. What is it that's happening on these sales calls? That's the magic.
So the magic on the sales call is getting to the point of um, it's about internal confidence. It's about personal confidence and personal beliefs. Most people I find the beginners want to learn the scripts and how to overcome objections, and those things are important. But the key to it is having that personal belief about selling is a good thing, about the value you bring to the marketplace, about the results your product offer. When you come to the call that way, the selling becomes easier. And it's my belief that most people skip that part and they just want, hey, give me the script and how to overcome this objection. But with the script and with the objection, if you don't have that internal belief and confidence, you're going to get into the
Mm-hmm.
phase of basically trying to convince people versus trying to enroll people. That's one of the big things I said. I got into some trouble from saying I'm not a closer. I'm more of an enrollment coach because in
Mm-hmm.
my mind, closers make you buy things you don't want to buy, which is not true. It's not true. But enrollment coaches really get people to be enrolled into that new version of themselves with that product. And I have a high dollar collect rate, very small refund rate because of that approach.
Yes. And it goes back to when you're saying confidence in yourself, but you're also saying confidence in what you're offering.
Confidence in what you're offering, confidence that it's going to get the result. You believe it's going to get the person the result. You believe it's the right thing for the person, but also the confidence in the value, because people may undersell themselves because oh, you know what, I know this, so I can't sell it for 25,000. I'll just give it away for
Mm.
3.
Mm.
Or,
So you're talking high ticket sales too, right? What
yeah,
is the lowest amount? I've heard different numbers here, so I'm curious about your opinion. What's the lowest amount someone should sell their offer, especially if it's like their time? And I know this varies by person, but is there like a cutoff point?
um, depending on where you are, minimum $1,000. So here, if you're a beginner that never made any sales, $1,000 and get on at least 20 to 30 sales calls.
To
Because
get the first sale.
even if you get the first kill, I'd always recommend beginners get on the first sales call, the first 20 to 30 sales calls, no less than $1,000. It does a lot of things to them. It like It helps them grow their confidence. It helps them really understand what people needs. It helps them write their copy better. It helps them convert better because a horrible salesperson converts at 10%. Copywriting converts at 2%.
And again,
3% if you're good.
and think about it too. And this is for our Arlan's All Access members directly. Let me tell you, you are going right back to that core of what we're talking about. And by the way, we did not plan or prep for this call. This is just in sync here. Yes, we're talking sales, but it's an offer. You believe as the person that what you're offering, hopefully you believe this, that what you're offering will help the other person, or else you wouldn't be doing it. I don't know anyone in Arlan's All Access who is just money hungry and will sell anything to anybody. It's about what they're actually passionate about and what they're experienced in and what they've already experienced their own pain points and found a way through it. And so these calls that we're talking about, when we're thinking about these calls, it's not just a sales call. It's a conversation with someone that you're hopefully eager to work with, right? And so for someone who's never been the person leading a sales call, how does it look?
You can break it down into like 5 parts. One, the pleasantries, the building rapport. Hey, where are you from? Yada, yada. The second part to me is like just setting the expectations. Hey, Arlan, we're going to be together for like 20 minutes. When I ask you some questions, see if I can help you, answer your questions. And if I can help you, I'll share with you how I can help you. That sounds cool? Perfect. And then you just jump into the questions. That's like the discovery part, right? Hey, why you decide to get on the call? Why is that important to you? What's stopping you from getting there? Ideally, in the ideal world, if this works out for you, what would life look like? How's it gonna make you feel? Perfect. What have you tried? So that's all this discovery, and then start to like work on some pain points. But you go delve deeper on the pain points. Then after the discovery pain point part, if you feel, and I always say this, if you feel you can help them based on that conversation, not based on the offer you have written up.
Or the
Because a lot of
script.
people sell based on the offer they have written up, not based on the conversation. Because then they try to fit the person to the offer. If you feel, oh, I can help her with these things, okay, cool. Hey, is there anything else you want to share with me? That's usually my transition. Perfect. Look, I actually believe I can help you because I've helped X clients do X thing you said, and get that kind of result. Would you like to hear about how I do that? And then I just jump into the offer. I just jump into the offer in a framework. I create a framework called FTBB, which is feature. Spend the least time on the feature, the transformation. Hey, you know what, Arlan, I have a group that helps with events. That's a feature. And here's what it does for you. It gives you the resources, the confidence, and the belief to actually go and host your own events. And what that really means for you is having a step-by-step process to host your first event in 14 days. Would that be helpful for you? Of course, you can say yes. And then you do that like 2 more times, 3 more times specific to what they said. So like if they said whatever they said, right? It's like, oh, I'm looking to host 100-person event in the next 6 months because it's going to build this mission. And then you just talk, hey, here's the transformation the program's going to help you do. Here's the benefit it's going to help you experience. And here's the benefit of that benefit you may not have thought about. So look, when you host a networking event of 100 people, like an event of 100 people, you're going to make a bigger impact. You build deeper connections, but you'll also be able to grow your business exponentially because you're going to have an offer there that a small percentage of those people want to continue that journey. Is that what you're looking to accomplish? That's the last part. And then, from there, you just say, hey, based off of everything I shared with you, what stood out to you most? Oh, I would
Because you
love
want them to tell you what they're liking about it rather than you telling them what they're liking about it.
After each one of those things, you're absolutely right. They're telling me, hey, would that be helpful for you? Is that valuable for you? How do you see that working for you? Hey, like I have a process where you can launch your first event in 14 days. How do you see that helping you right now? Oh, cool. And then you just,
so
hey,
that
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, and that's about it. And then I got to the point. I do maybe 3. I try to get the three to 4 that aligns with what they said in the conversation.
Yeah.
And then I may just throw in everything else. And they say, well, I like number one, I like number two. Okay, perfect. Just curious, why is that the most important thing for you?
Yeah. And
Okay,
that
cool.
also, not only does it help in a quote unquote sales environment, it also helps you when you get ready to help them because you know what to focus on to help them.
And also helps you realign them when they want to go wayward on you. Like people get into
Mhm.
program and then they want all these amazing things. Like, yeah, hey. When we talked about these things and these were most important to you at that time. What changed?
Yeah.
Right? It
Yeah.
kind of help you rein them in. Because a lot of times, a lot of closers close and move away. For the clients I work with, I'm still in the program. So they may see me at different points.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure if our fulfillment team is having an issue with them, hey, this person said you said this and said that, I can come back to the call with a couple of notes from Zoom. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why are
Yeah.
you feeling this way? But the whole sales process is getting them to tell me why.
Yes.
And then at the end, they said that the things they like the best. Said perfect. Hey, is this something if we are able to come up with if we're able to come with a process um, that can help you solve this, are you ready to move forward today? Depending on how much it is, and so you can filter that out there. So,
Mhm.
just want to get clear. If I share with you the right, what are you thinking in mind you can move forward with today? So I just want to get an idea so they can get an idea. So
Mhm.
perfect. Okay, great. This is what our offer is. It's $25,000 for the year. If you do pay in full, you save $3,000. It's 2,200, 2,000, $22,000. Um, and then I just shut up.
Mm.
And then they tell me if they can do, okay, how do I do that? Or they ask questions, or payment options, or payment plans. So usually, I don't have all that right now. You don't have all that right now? Yeah, I can't make a one-time payment of 20. I would love the savings. Okay. Okay. Tell me a little bit more about that. And then they'll just tell me their situation and I'll give them the payment plan or give them the next option.
Mhm.
That's wrapped up. And then I do what my mentor call sealing the deal is perfect. Hey, congratulations on making a wise decision. Imagine a year from now, we reconnected and you've accomplished everything that you said you will with this program. How would that make you feel? And they sit there and they tell me, because that is for when they get off the call and they tell their husband they just invested $22,000
Or their wife.
or their wife. For
Mhm.
me, it's my wife because I get off and I
Mhm.
told her I said I could have helped you with that. No, no, ma'am, no.
No, the expert can. And you're saying this part is after they've paid or joined and you're having the first mentor call with them. Is that correct?
Actually, ideally before you even process their payment.
Oh,
So they
okay.
said
So you,
yes, they're ready to go. They grab in their cards, or they're working on the ACH. You said, "Hey, Arlan, I'm curious. Imagine 12 months from now, you've gone through the program and you've implemented and you've gotten all these results. How would that make you feel?" And I sit, and some people talk for 30 seconds. Some people go on for a while. Some people get emotional about it. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about it. Usually it's emotional because
yeah.
people make large investments and you want them to get a result. And you hear the reasons why they tell you why they want to get a result. So it's blow your mind. It's like people tell me things on these calls that I'm like, that's none of my business, but thanks for trusting me
Mm,
to share that. And then you grab their card, you grab their details, you process it, and then you give them the next steps. Perfect. Here what's going to happen now. If you look in your email box, you're going to see a receipt. While I have you on the phone, let me schedule you for your onboarding and add that onboarding. This and this is going to happen. Um, and I just walk them through the entire thing. Most of my clients, the way I teach and anyone I work with, I always say, hey, we always have an onboarding call to like make sure they get access, they know where things are.
mhm.
You
It
help them white label their email.
it sounds like you have a team though, right?
I don't have a team. I go in and use my clients' teams. The guy I work with right now, he has a team,
Oh,
and I go in and let's use his team.
to get them all on the same page to
Get them
help
all on the
the
same page.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
Um,
smart. Yeah. So, the scenarios mostly for now that we're probably going to run into are those people in Arlen's All Access who are launching their memberships for the first time. Some of them are free memberships, some of them are paid, but there's an upsell to something. There's an upsell to a course or coaching or to the paid membership. And so this might be $120 a month, or it may be a 50, a $600 coaching program. And we're taking people who are just starting with that part of the process and getting them comfortable. So I love your idea of doing 20 or 30 of these calls before you even call yourself somebody who's started, right? I just released a video about an hour ago on YouTube where I say that you want to get rejected on purpose because business and negotiations are a numbers game. And again, a lot
Yep.
of this is like synchronicity because we didn't know we were going to have this call when
Yep.
I filmed that. And so the idea of like and again, this varies depending on what you're selling, what you're offering, who you are, who your audience is, how good you are at getting the right people on the calls. But what is generally a good conversion rate that you've seen?
At minimum 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Easily you can do 2 out of 10, 20%. If you are an influencer, Arlen, you get in a call, you're going to close 90%.
Yeah,
Um,
that's my number. I really
oh,
do.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's close to 100%. And when it is not, so I put 75% as because I was doing 1 in 4, but it really is, if you do it overall, it is very close to 100%. But sometimes, just like you do, I'm sure, sometimes I tell people they're not right for the offer. And so
Absolutely.
that's why it's not a 100% closing rate.
Yeah. So the more influence you have in the space, people who are well branded, usually they actually be honest, a lot of them do it wrong because they use their branding as a way to convince people,
Mm,
and they just feel I can get on and convince you. But 15%, 20%, 30%. Um I a beginner, I would aim for 15%. The goal is one out of your first 10, and then two out of your next 20, two out of your next 10. And
mhm.
then we're going to go for three out of the next 10. Or you can double back to the first 20 and poach about two or three more because you have a little bit more certainty now. So you can
Yeah.
go back to people who you felt you were weak on it. And I teach people a process like to review. And the other thing people don't do, beginners don't do, they don't review their calls.
Like watch the replay, like
They
watch
don't
the
watch the
tape.
replay.
Mm,
Even if you don't watch replay, I teach people to do a thing called the 3-2-1 process. As soon as you get off the call, hey, three things that went well. One of the things that I could do better here, stop being so nervous. Um, three things that went well, two things that you could do better, and one thing you like best about that call.
mm.
If you don't do that way, usually people will give you 10 things they did horrible. So now you can focus on, hey, here's the three things I did well. I'm gonna make sure I do that the next time. Here's the two things I didn't do well. I can try to fix that the next time. And then you write those down. So
Yeah.
by the end of the week, you should have 30 things you did well if you did 10 calls, and you can tap into that and lean on that. And then usually it's about six things you'll do wrong or you feel you can always improve on,
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
just work on training. So beginners don't want to practice. In my sales coaching gym, one of the big things there is role plays
Yeah.
and practice. One other thing, as I mentioned, for beginners in like membership sites, I wouldn't jump right into sales calls. I would jump into discovery calls.
Right. That's what we're calling them. Discovery
Right.
calls, onboarding calls, etc.
Yeah, you just jump into discovery calls and you have that conversation. If you feel someone is a good fit for you, schedule another conversation. So in discovery
Mm,
calls at the top, I make it clear. So, hey, I'm not going to say anything on this call. I just want to learn about you, learn about what you want, why you joined, how I can help you. So I'm not going to say anything on the call. At the end of the call, if I feel I can help you further, then maybe we can schedule something in the future. Is that
that's
cool?
key. I like
And
that.
that's what
That's
I
a
call like
gem.
I call it like the upfront contract.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
a
I do the
that's a
call.
gem.
No pressure. Yeah, no
Yeah.
pressure. And at the end, it's, you know what, Arlen, I actually think I can really help you a little bit more with my program, the paid version of this program. Are you open to jumping on a call? I'll talk to you about the program and learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
And then I'll
And
share with you the offer.
what if they
And I
say,
schedule two calls.
what if they say, oh, I want to talk about that now?
I appreciate that. But one thing that's important to me is my integrity. I did promise you at the beginning of the call, I'm not going to sell you anything on this call. So I'm not going to sell you anything on this call. Are you available at 1 o'clock? Let's get on at 1 o'clock. The
Mhm.
salesperson are going to tell you, don't do that. Sell them when they're hot. I told you in the beginning, by the way, that it's not a trick, but it really helps when you tell someone, no, I said I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to do it.
Mm.
I know when they get on the next call, they're going to buy it because they're like, yo, this guy.
There's integrity.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
takes I always want to say it's 8 years doing this. Year number two or year number one, you told me you had a wallet in your hand. I'm going to try to sell you something.
And so, yeah, I think it's important to note that you're exactly right. I say in my books, don't compare your chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 20, right? So we're teaching you the playbook, and the playbook is there for you. It's written. It wasn't written for us. If you want to take the playbook, take the playbook. If there's a little bit of variance and deviating from that, that's human nature. It's going to be okay. And hopefully you just come back to the playbook and see where you can fit in. But there's no perfect way to do anything. And you're going to find your own strides and your own style to this. When it comes to the pushback and the scripts and the very specific things, would you say that there are some specific things that keep coming up for people that's like tried and true on pushback, and that there's a way to combat that?
Yeah, like objections.
Exactly.
So one thing I mentioned scripts quickly. Scripts are great, but it's a guide. So I always tell people don't try to memorize a script and do it, you'll be a robot. Objections is just having a process of is it like a communication track to get people to talk more? I don't have the money. What that means? I don't have all the money right now. I have some of the money. I have the money this weekend. I don't have all the money in the card. It's like
Yeah.
what does that mean? So
But how important is it for you to get somebody to not be on a call with someone who can't afford you? Like that pre-selection of who is on the call, and do they understand? Like how do you get somebody that's a better lead than that?
okay, so like the getting the right person on the call. Beginners want to get everybody on the call. You want to get reps in.
Okay.
You want to get reps in. You don't. I my clients have said, hey, if you haven't done 30 sales calls, you don't need an intake form, or you're not that special yet.
Yes.
But you can have an intake form, but you're not going to qualify based on the intake form.
Mm.
Intake form is important if you're busy, right? But then you can, if the person didn't answer the questions correctly, you may do if you're by yourself, you do a quick pre-call. Hey, Arlan, I just noticed you submitted your application. I'm excited to get in the call. I just want to touch base with a few things with you. And do you have 5 minutes? And you just go to the things. Like if they said, I only have $500 to invest and you have a minimum of $1,000, you look at a couple wins on there. Hey, thanks for sharing this. Thanks for sharing this. I noticed you said you were only able to invest $500 at that time. Is that accurate? And usually some of them stretch.
Mm.
Hey, I
Mm.
want to be very upfront with you. I wouldn't want to waste your time. My minimum program is $2,500.
Mm.
If we have a conversation and you feel I can help you, do you feel be able to like stretch a little bit? Cool. Awesome. Let me confirm your appointment. You booked for tomorrow. You just confirm the appointment.
Mm. So you can have these 5-minute pre-calls
5 minutes.
if your kind of funnel into booking calls isn't very precise as a beginner. And as I keep saying beginner, but like I'm learning on this call, and I'm pretty good at this, So that's really great. So I I want to understand your free memberships for our members. You have a free membership, right? Or am I wrong about that?
Yeah, it's a free membership.
Okay, okay. And what's it
Um,
called?
it's called a sales coach and gym community.
Okay. So what I would love to do, and I'm just going to put you on the spot here for now. I would love to have you working, inside of Arlen's All Access, working with our um members. We have like a special guest that we have, a special expert from YouTube Ty, she comes in and she's there all the time. She's a member and she's there weekly. I'd love to do the same thing with you because this is such an important part of our overall strategy that we have. And we have this 30-day challenge right now for your first 30 free members. And it lends itself into just getting that foundation so that you can then, have something, have an offer to upsell and start to monetize what you're doing. So first of all, I'd love to do that. And second of all, I'll put a link to your free membership where this sits in the classroom and in the community on school. And I hope that we can have a series of conversations like this and maybe even get you live.
Can you tell I'm excited about talking about sales?
You are so excited about talking about sales. And it's so funny. I've seen a video of you on YouTube and it was very, very good. I remember it was like just you're so value packed, which I think is fantastic. So it's going to be fun to work with you.
I would love to do it. It's an honor for me. One of my goals this year, I haven't tracked the number. One of my goals this year to help people sell $1 million in their products and services. I haven't been that good at it for other people, meaning like I haven't really tracked that. I know for me, I've sold $1 million. Some
Yeah,
of my clients have sold, haven't tracked the number, but that's one of my goals. So helping your community do that. Yeah.
I
And by
love
the
it.
way, I got that from you in January at TSP's event.
I love it. I love it. When my book came out, Your First Million. So inside of Arlan's All Access, I'm helping people make $100,000 extra with their membership, with their YouTube, with different things that we're doing. So this is
Nice.
perfect. What you're saying essentially is you think making $100,000, which is our promise, right? You think that that is super attainable, especially through sales, it sounds like.
It's easier, in my opinion, and I'm open to being wrong. It's easier to do through sales calls than copywriting, than sales webinars, than master classes, all that stuff. It's those
Mhm.
things work. Those things work. But
Mhm.
for people who are newer to it, don't have a large audience, who haven't developed that expertise, the easiest thing they can do is like, hey, learn how to have these sales conversations. First and foremost, learn how to get out of your own way with your beliefs about sales, your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about the product, and then learn how to have these conversations. You can close more people in bigger ticket items in a 30-minute conversation, in an hour conversation. It may take a 2-hour conversation because you may follow up 3 times. By the way, that's another secret of laying a lot of sales, right? People don't,
Just
obviously
following up.
beginners don't. Just following up. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
3 weeks from now, you come back and say, hey, we spoke a couple of weeks ago. How have things been going? You move the needle? And you may give them a customized offer. You may, hey, I'll take out some of the things and I'll just get you my program because I know you're
Yeah.
gonna up. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I would love to do it. It's something that's I'm super excited about. Yeah,
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And I will be in touch. And I know that this video is going to change some of our members' lives today. I know that's a lot to say, but I just know from what I've heard that it will.
that is my prayer, is that it changed someone's life. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You are in my Inner Circle program. You're in Arlen's All Access and you're learning all about memberships, but you have a membership that is doing well. What can you tell us about your membership and some of the learnings that you've had?
So I started a writing group in 2020. I finished my book with that writing group. People finished essays and articles and got tenure and promotion and finished their PhDs and things like that. So it was a successful writing program that I was not kind of organizing as a membership. And working with you helped me to see the benefits of turning it into a membership because it was something that had already been successful and doing well. But instead of me reaching out to everyone every month with like a PayPal link to say, okay, we're doing it again, who wants to sign up again? So it kind of automated the payment part of it. And it took the legwork out of me feeling like I had to reach out to everyone every month.
It came about so organically. My daughter is a softball player, fast pitch softball player, and she wanted to play a select team. And we're getting ready to head into tryout season. So I started to ask some of the parents, well, where do I find where all of the tryouts exist? What tryouts she's eligible for and what teams are in our area and all of that. We're like, well, we kind of go to these different Facebook groups and different teams just kind of post all their information there. So I went to these Facebook groups and yeah, I could find some information about some of the teams, but they didn't even always have like all the information. I love Airtable, and I started to put it in an Airtable because I figured just keep it all in one place. And I put out a few posts and I said, hey, I've started to track. I don't know if you're having trouble with this, but I'm having trouble tracking all of these tryouts. And it went crazy, like absolutely nuts. More than 3,000 people accessed the spreadsheet during like the height of tryout season. Almost 300 teams entered their information into the spreadsheet. Like it was so far beyond.
It is the Creative Flow Reset community. And everything that we do is focused on inspiring creative potential, awakening creativity in those who may either feel like they can't find that for themselves, or maybe they just need to like awaken that again after trial, challenges, and just life. And it's available to any and all. It is a free community with some premium upgrades.
What does that community feel like within your membership?
I think there's just power in the numbers and seeing other people who are doing the work that you're also doing and knowing that you're not doing it alone and encouraging each other. So there's like the writing component of it, but I also have an optional group coaching component of it. And so people come for the writing, but they also come for like the check-ins where people are reporting like, this is the progress that I'm making, or this is where I'm struggling or having a hard time. And so it's as much me coaching them as it is also peer coaching that's happening in the space. So that's really beautiful.
How are you bringing in people today, those first few members, and any new ones you have? Because that's a question that comes up a lot, is how do I get members into my paid membership, especially if I don't have a large audience?
So my first few members are people who I call the OGs, who were in there when I first started it in 2020, and I took a break from it. And so they were very much looking for me to bring it back. And so when I announced that I was bringing it back, they were excited to get back into it. And then a few more people have come in just from referrals, because people are like, okay, I'm in this writing group, I finished my book, or I finished my article, or I got tenure, come join us. So some of them have been referrals. And then a few people have been like from my email list or from my social media presence. But I would say the good percentage are people who are returning, who were in it before. And then I would say the next highest group would be direct referrals from people who are already in it. And then after that, it would be like email, social media kind of connections.
What's a fear that you have had to overcome in order to do this membership, do you think?
I have thought about the like, who the heck am I? Who am I to create this? Like, I'm not a professional sports person. So that's probably the biggest one. But I realized I'm going through this right now as a parent team coordinator, whatever you want to call us. And well, yeah, who am I not to? I clearly have a skill set that not everybody has. There's a ton of value in like, we can learn together. Right? Or I'm new to this and I have specific skills that I've brought in, or I brought a really unique perspective to, this particular role or skill that you're teaching people. I think there's a lot of value in that. And like, let's do this together, let's build this together. And I think that's what you've done with All Access as well, right? Is like, you're building this incredible membership.
Yeah.
And you're sharing as you go. And that's one of the things that I've learned the most from is this, let's do this together. Let's see each other's success.
What if somebody is wanting to start a membership, but they're afraid to charge people money or to charge over a few dollars a month? What can you say to the value that people are getting and just generally speak to that fear?
So I would say for me, one of the ways that I was able to overcome or maybe bypass that fear is that I actually started this group out for free when I first started it. And because Black women and women of color tend to be so generative and generous, they kind of got together and raised money to send me money, right? So they were just like, you can't do this for free. Like, you're holding a lot of space for us. This is very valuable to us. And so that helped me become more comfortable with charging something for it. And then when I saw that, okay, it's really a high touch space where they are connecting with me almost daily. I usually am on there from Monday through Thursday. So they have like the writing space that I'm holding, again, in addition to the group coaching, in addition to the courses. So I feel like there's a lot of value that's being offered for what's being charged. And that's not just me feeling that, it's the feedback that I'm getting from the group in terms of what transformations and values they get out of it. And so part of it is checking in with the group. Like early on, I emailed and said, okay, what brought you to the group? What were the challenges that you were dealing with? How has this group helped address those challenges? What transformations have you experienced? And people were very generous also in just giving me that feedback to let me know what the space meant for them.
Talk to me about that decision you made to go with that model.
Ooh, this was a tough one. I think one of our coaching calls as part of my inner circle group really shaped that. I want a space that is extremely accessible. When I think about the things that I needed on my journey as a creative project manager and as a creative leader, it was always important to me that I could access resources to show me the way. I'm fortunate to work with you, Arlan, but not everyone has that ability to work with you directly. And so I think about what I needed. And honestly, this community that I'm developing and really being a part of yours, it kind of closes that gap. So I wanted it to be free so people could come learn from me in real time, also connect with their peers and not wait on anyone to lead them, but rather them to jump in and feel like they're fostering peer connection as the number one resource. And I feel like I'm beginning to pull some of that magic that's happening in all access as well into my space. So I'm grateful for that.
Talk a little bit about how you do make money that way, because someone's going to say, well, if it's free, how's she making money?
It is a lead magnet, right? It's an opportunity to give people a taste of what it is that I personally and or my entire business can offer them. Coming into my free community should be an opportunity for you to get a taste of working with me if you cannot do it one-on-one. But then there is a layer within my school community that is has a paywall, and it is a premium upgrade. And then if they want more of that premium small group, almost accelerator style learning, they can work with me that way.
It sounds like you've also done a really great job of keeping things simple. You have some very high value offerings within it, but it's not like all these different things all at once that people have to figure out. How important is that?
I think that it's important to keep it simple and also to, again, let people opt into what they want and opt out of what they don't want. So it's not a pressure to, I'm like, okay, I have a 2-hour block pretty much daily that we do in the morning and then 2 hours in the afternoon. And I'm like, if you can show up for 30 minutes, show up for 30 minutes. If you can do an hour or 90 minutes or the whole 2 hours, you can. But there's no judgment about how long people are on there. People just come when they're able to come. Or even sometimes people are like, well, I just need the check-in to have some accountability. So they might not make it to the writing that morning, but they make it to the check-in. So I think having the options of these are the different components of it. There's the virtual writing, there's the check-ins, and then there are also course suites that are available that are self-paced that people can, again, opt into what works for them, opt out of what doesn't. So I think the simplicity of what's offered, as well as the low pressure of do whatever works best for you and work the membership in whatever way works best for you is helpful for everyone.
One of the things I really love too about the work that you do is that you get to travel. You set that life up for yourself. You can run your membership from almost anywhere at almost any time. Talk a little bit about that flexibility.
Oh, yes. I intentionally designed this community and this YouTube kind of connection, this funnel together with that in mind, because I plan to do a lot of travel in 2025 and I don't want to be location reliant. I don't want my clients and the work that I do to be focused on where I am physically, which means that if I want to record a course, a training, a conversation with a peer like this, or behind the scenes with Arlan, which I plan to share in my community, if I plan to post those things, they don't have a shelf life. They don't require me to be somewhere. And I do value my time. I've been leaning towards being a happy, healthy, high earning, creative leader in this season of my life. And that means being less available physically, but more available and more capacity when I am there. So that's what my community represents. It's I don't post every day. I think I post 3 times a week max. My community manager posts in the in-between and supplements. She also runs one of our live sessions. So I just think that it's a hub. It's a hub for the best parts of me to show up for my community.
So on Saturdays, I really love to just take off from everything because there's so much going on. And I just unplug from the membership and I plug right back in and everyone's talking to each other and answering each other's questions and supporting each other. And you give them the content and the resources that you need, but you're not trying to overwhelm them anyway. So you can come through, check it out. It's like being a host of a party. You want to come through, make sure everybody's good. I also call it treating it like your garden. So you want to tend to it. You may prune here and there, but you want this beautiful garden and let the ecosystem kind of do its thing.
I'm in your group and there are so many of us and it's so engaging and I'm still at the baby stages of mine. And I have to remind myself that this space and this pace is designed for a very long-term goal.
Yes.
You've been doing this. This is not brand new for you. You have transitioned and really revamped into something beautiful that honestly has superseded my expectations. And so I have to give myself the grace of knowing that at this stage, it's doing exactly what it needs to do. I shared in my post that it's all about building the muscle of consistency and creating the container and trusting that as I do that, folks will come in and stay like focused on the value.
How much time are you giving yourself to see, and what is successful traction for you in the first few days or weeks?
I think what I will be looking for is traction where people are sharing with each other. Like that to me will be the ultimate, if people are getting referred from other members. 'Cause
Yes.
that's what I saw with that original spreadsheet was just this crazy, oh my gosh, I'm sharing it with so-and-so. I know somebody else was looking for that. So that I think would be like my ultimate measurement.
Did you ever think that you would be making money off of a membership that you enjoy so much?
I did not. I mean, I think I just wasn't thinking of it as a membership. I wasn't thinking about it in those terms. So it's been helpful to think about it in those terms. And it is powerful. I mean, even when I was like in graduate school, I was like, I can't believe I get paid to read and write, right? And so this is like an extension of that. Even though I've stepped away from the professor position, I feel like I'm still getting compensated to do the things that I really love to do, which are to read and write myself, but also to hold space for other people who enjoy reading and writing and help them cultivate their own writing practice and writing habit and take the anxiety and the fear out of writing that a lot of people have.
For someone who has the ability to hire someone to work with them on their membership, which there will be a lot of people who do, what is that relationship like and what does that look like, behind the scenes?
Well, I'll speak specifically to the community management role.
Okay.
It's very different from your traditional VA, right? I think it's very easy to hire a VA these days to support you maybe in your personal brand or your business. But your community manager, in this case mine, she has come along the journey of watching my business grow. I did some vetting over a year ago to start finding someone who could become a partner in my creative journey and someone who I could have shadow me every step of the way. So she's learned not only just my voice, but my values, and we align on that. I think that that's key. So we had to build a genuine connection first before I could just throw her into that role. But she also has a customer service background. So I was very intentional around choosing someone who was a CSM to come into this role, even though she had never been a community manager before. She also has a coaching practice. So I knew that between her coaching and customer service, she could serve as maybe even a better me as a lead in my community. I know my superpowers, I know my strengths, I know what I'm going to bring to this community. And I know that she'll do more than fill the gap. And that even if this becomes a role that she doesn't stay in long term, we will have built a foundation that can be duplicated through SOPs and just the framework will be built. I also went within my community to find that person. So I think that that's key.
What's your plan? What is your goal maybe?
My goal, honestly, I mean, the dream would be that this would be the whole business. I mean, that this would take over. Such a wild thought at this point that could be possible. So that's for me personally, but truly it's really about having, again, this place where other parents can go and get resources. I would love to just create this resource that is well known among sports parents for where they can go and just get a ton of information and support and templates and all of the above.
Someone is a consultant or a coach and they have not thought about a membership aspect of it. What can you say to them is the reason they should be paying close attention to this?
It's really simple. I think more than anything, and honestly, I got to plug school again and plug your community because it was actually a little overwhelming for me working with other platforms. I felt like I needed a LMS that was super robust, like a learning management system. Let me just clarify. And I found that once I got on school as a member of All Access, something just unlocked. And I was like, this is so much easier than I thought it would be. You just need people. You just need good content and you need consistency, those three things. So if you're a consultant, I like to speak to those who might not think that memberships will work for them. It will. I mean, I've seen therapists, I've seen financial planners, I've seen all of the different types of backgrounds come and use their community. And it doesn't have to be this huge, expensive experience. You can have a community that's as low as $3 or $5 a month, $15 a month, all the way up to whatever that limit is for you.
Hundreds of dollars.
Hundreds of dollars, exactly. Don't let the overwhelm of not starting stop you from starting.
And how has being in Arlan's All Access helped with this whole process?
Oh my gosh, it's where the whole idea came from. literally. Like it really is. It really is. Because up until, I mean, it just hadn't even occurred to me that this would be something that I would create a membership around. Again, my focus always had been in, my professional experience, which is in the world of HR. But all of a sudden, like watching the videos within Arlan's All Access, you have all of these videos and how-tos, and you are like showing people how to do it as you go as well. That's really literally where the whole idea came from.
I'm going to ask you to use the same questions for you when it comes to Arlan's All Access, because I know people watching want to be part of it, but they don't know if it's for them. They don't know if it's necessary to do their membership. What can you say to that?
So one of the things that I appreciate about Arlan's Access is you're very good at breaking things down into smaller parts. So it's not something that feels just so overwhelming where it's just like, oh my goodness, where do I start? Like it's broken down into smaller pieces that are very accessible, that again, you can work at your own pace. And I think you're very good in the space of saying like, okay, if you're just getting here, you're not behind, don't feel overwhelmed, like go to whatever section works best for you, or you may want to start here to build up to there. So I think you're very good as a teacher in this space of like breaking things down into baby steps that feel doable and giving people just the roadmap of like, how do you move forward in terms of even like identifying what your branding is or identifying what your unique value proposition. And so the kinds of prompts and questions that you offer are really helpful for people figuring that out for themselves as they move forward. And you're very good at saying, okay, like this, like literally this is what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So you can like not just do what I say, but do as I do. Like I'm demonstrating for you how I've built this so that you can also build something. I think that's very helpful.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to keep close contact with you to watch this process, and we're rooting for you, and it's so exciting to watch.
Thank you so much.
You know you want to start a membership. You know that you want monthly recurring revenue. You know you want to be paid weekly for that revenue. But you don't know what to offer. You don't know what your membership is supposed to be about. I'm hearing you in the comments, and I have put together a workshop that we're going to do right now. That if you work with me in this entire video, by the end of this video, you will know exactly what your membership should be. This is the deepest of deep dives. So you're going to want to take out a piece of paper and a pen, or get your laptop or your phone, and you want to go along with me step by step, and you're answering these questions. This is an exercise I do inside of my paid membership, Arlan's All Access, and I'm doing it for free right now, the entire process right now. So if you have done this before inside of Arlan's All Access, this will be a version of it that will help you solidify even more what you want your membership to be. So the way we're going to use this, and you see here that it says membership manifesto, stick around for that, because we're going to have something at the end that you can print out and put in front of you every single day so that you know your North Star. Okay, this is an amazing resource, and you'll have this forever if you work with me. Are you ready? If you're ready, say in the comments right now, I am ready and I'm with you. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to go step by step. There are 3 sections to start. These are 3 main sections, and we talk about this in Arlan's All Access, my membership that teaches you how to make memberships. And it's a several day process that has all kinds of things to it. And this is the entire part of the first process. It's incredible. The first thing you want to do is you want to figure out your target audience. Identify the specific group of people who will benefit most from what you offer. Okay, so just think about this for a little bit and start jotting some things down. Who is your ideal customer? One hack to figuring this out, because sometimes it is tough to figure out, is to think about who you've worked with in the past, who's been your favorite to work with, favorite type of client, customer. Now, this can be someone that has spent thousands with you, or it can be someone who bought a necklace from you or something that cost $5. It's thinking about what about them did I like? What was it that I understood that I would want to work with them again? And are there more than one that are similar? So I start to see a trend and a pattern. The first way you want to think about this is you're going to think through things like their age, their lifestyle, their skill level, their motivation. These are demographic and psychographics, right? Demographics and psychographics. So the demographics, what is their age, profession life stage. So for example, we're going to use an example the whole time of someone who is trying to start a membership or who wants to start a membership for painting. Okay, so whatever we do when it says painting, just think about where kind of your general idea might be. So for instance, my ideal customer is a 30 to 50-year-old adult who is interested in exploring painting as a hobby, but hasn't picked up a brush in years or is a beginner. Think about their skill level. Are they complete beginners, intermediate hobbyists, or aspiring professionals? Think about that in what you're doing in your lane. And what you want to do too is you want to pause this video, write down some answers, press play, and keep going. Okay, this is a full-on workshop. You also, what I like to do is have my age range. If I think through age range, I like to have it 20 years tops. So I'll say something like mine is 35 to 55-year-old women, right? Or women of color, et cetera, right? So you don't have to have every single one of these figured out in order to figure out the overall. But the more you can dial in, the better and the easier it's going to be for you later. Another example of that, of their skill level, is they are beginners who have always wanted to try painting, but they feel intimidated by the idea of starting. What's their lifestyle like? What is their current situation and how does painting fit into that? For instance, they have a busy schedule, but they're looking for a creative outlet to unwind after work or on the weekends. You want to be specific so that you can know how to reach those people. And then what common challenges or pain points do they face? You'll hear that term pain points a lot with me because that's how I work when I work with startup founders. Now, I've invested in more than 200 startup founders over the past decade after being homeless 10 years ago. And I have raised more than $30 million for this venture fund that has been pouring into startup companies, right? And so I see thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs of all shades and stripes, and they all face pain points. They all have something in common, and they're all trying to address someone else's pain point or their own, right? So think about the obstacles and the frustrations that your target audience experiences when they try to learn how to paint, for instance. These are the pain points that your teaching aims to solve. So you ask yourself, what's holding them back? And again, replace painting with whatever you're thinking of right now. What's holding them back from starting or progressing? What makes the thing feel difficult or overwhelming for them? For example, they don't know where to start and they feel overwhelmed by the materials, the equipment, the techniques, right? Another example is they're afraid of making mistakes and they feel they're not naturally artistic. Another is they want to create art, but they feel intimidated by the amount of time or money it might take to get good at it. These are the problems that you can address in your lessons when you build out your membership. There's always going to be this classroom element to it. This makes your content more relatable. And again, it makes it more valuable what you're offering. And then think about how they currently try to solve these problems. Now, your competition per se could be a person, a company, or it could just be a hacked way, like a duct tape way that somebody does this now. So think about your ideal audience, what they're doing to try to overcome those challenges. Are they taking action or are they stuck? Are they using free resources like YouTube right now, Pinterest? And again, this is specific to painting, but think about it for your lane. Are they trying to learn on their own, but not seeing progress? Have they attended local classes, but found them to be expensive or intimidating, and in some cases, not effective enough for them? Right? And what characteristics define them? What are their ages? Again, think about a range. What are their interests, passions, hobbies outside from the main thing that you're working on? And what are their values? What drives them? Are they looking for a way to express themselves, relax, grow personally? Are they looking for, let's say you're in fintech or finance, are they looking for a way to save money, to get better with their finances, to pay off debt? Think about the different elements of this and just jot all these notes down as we go along. Remember to pause when you want to so that you can think through this truly. So then what makes them a good fit for your product or service? Not everybody is going to be the perfect fit. So what makes your ideal customer the perfect fit? Why would they benefit from what you're offering? And again, we're going to learn more about what you're going to offer a little bit later, but this is part of that. So they may be good because they are looking for the type of enjoyable, stress-free, creative outlet that you are going to offer. They could be good because they're looking for the type of guidance, structured, easy to follow, step by step that you're going to offer. And it could be good because they value community. Maybe everything else they've done has been solo, siloed, or it could have been in groups like a classroom, but nobody was really talking to each other or working together outside of that. And you are going to offer this membership that's going to change that for them. So after completing this exercise, here's what your target audience might look like. You're going to say what your ideal customer is. And again, if for an example, a 40-year-old woman working full-time who wants to explore painting as a relaxing hobby to unwind. Now, when you have this target person, this avatar, these different keywords we'll start to use, it doesn't mean that every single customer of yours has to be this exact person. It just means that the majority of them will be because they're your ideal client. And if you can attract them, then you can know how to work with them, right? But then you're attracting other people who are following that crowd, who are saying, "Oh, that looks interesting. Let me be part of it." That. Think about my audience. My audience, I would say, is 35 to 55-year-old women of color for the most part, who are successful in many aspects of their life, but they are looking for more. They're very aspirational. They're very intelligent, and they want to give back and they want to have impact in the world, right? That's my audience. But then I also have white men who are in their 20s or in their 70s. I have women who are in their 70s and 80s that are a part of our membership. I have younger people. I have people who are not entrepreneurs at all and never thought about being an entrepreneur, but they come into the world. It doesn't mean that you can't allow other people into your world. It just means that having this understanding of who you're looking for helps you know who you're talking to. And I promise you, that is the biggest breakthrough that you might have in this whole process. So you're going to know the ideal customer, their pain points, their current solution, and the characteristics of who they are. This is more like psychographics, right? And then if they're a good fit. Now, going into section 2, you're going to think about the solution and the benefits that you offer. So now you've identified kind of the person who you're thinking about or the people you're thinking about. Now we're going to talk about what do you offer them. So you're going to define how your product or your service solves your audience's problem and the specific benefits it provides. The goal here is to clearly explain what problems your painting lessons or XYZ solve for your target audience. Okay. What is their primary problem? For instance, is it a lack of confidence? Is it overwhelmed with materials or instructions or no structured learning? These are just examples. Your answer may be different. You can share some of your answers in the comments the whole way. You can comment as much as you want to. I'm going to look at every single comment and I approve them or don't approve them, right? So to go live. So talk to me, give some feedback here if you're learning something. Then you're going to think about how your lessons in the classroom, in the way that you structure your membership, are going to address these problems. And don't get too worried about how do I make a classroom? How do I make a course? We'll get to that another time. It's more about what is going to be inside of this container. For instance, my painting lessons solve the problem of overwhelm by guiding students step by step through the basics of choosing materials and starting on a simple project. I help build confidence by teaching in a non-judgmental environment where students can make mistakes and improve. It reminds me so much of Arlan's All Access because that's exactly what's going on. How is your solution different or better than the current alternatives? So you have to understand and be able to explain how are you different and better, right? It could be that they're using YouTube tutorials, which are fantastic. We both know that, but maybe you're giving them some better step like I do. So what makes your teaching approach unique? Are you offering something that they can't get somewhere else from free resources? Is your style more approachable or less intimidating than traditional ways? And if you think about too, there's another way of thinking about this is in the curation. You know, when you go to a art museum, and the whole point of the museum is that there's millions of pieces of art in the world, probably billions because there are billions of people. There's so much art in the world. But you went to this museum, and the reason that it makes sense is because someone or a few people curated that art. They curated the experience for you. It may change throughout the year into different themes. It may be the same every year, but in some way they curated your experience. What art is on the walls? What art is sitting there in the middle of the hall? So what you could do is your unique proposition of value could be that there's so much information about the specific topic, and you're going to help by doing hours and hours of research for the person, for the group. And you're going to bring those pieces together in one container, and you're going to put it in order so that it's not so overwhelming and so people don't have to look everywhere for it, right? Because anybody can Google, anybody can go on YouTube. But if you can help curate that experience, that also is a valuable part of things. So it's not just your IP, your intellectual property. It's a mixture of that and your ability to help people find solutions. So another example is you could give them personal guidance. So unlike free tutorials, my lessons offer personalized feedback and a clear path for progress so beginners know exactly what to do next. I can't overstate how important it is to help people in a step-by-step way with anything you're doing, no matter what it is. And so much of what we do, we think that the earliest steps are kind of like a given, like, oh yeah, everybody knows how to do that because I know how to do that. But most people don't know how to do that first step of that thing that you know how to do. So some people, for instance, don't know how to search on YouTube, but you do because you got here, right? But you wouldn't believe how many people don't know that YouTube has valuable information. It's not just cat videos. You wouldn't believe how many people don't know how to search for certain keywords or how to navigate. So you could literally be someone who teaches someone else how to use YouTube. And that's just an example of what I mean. But it needs to be something that is close to your heart and something that you want to work on for years. So there's other examples here that you can read here. And what measurable benefits do people get from your product or service? What new skills do they get, perhaps? What progress will they make? And how will that knowledge and abilities help them improve? Right? So for instance, after completing my lessons, students will be able to paint a basic landscape or still life using foundational techniques like shading and blending. I can't stress enough how important these first steps are to be able to do something like that. And I can't stress enough how important it is to have a transformation. We talk a lot about transformations inside of Arlan's All Access, and I'll tell you so much more inside of it. But it is the core of what you're doing. Okay, and students will finish the course with 3 to 5 completed paintings that they can proudly display at home. Like these are cool things that people can have that transformation. How does your offer improve their lives or their businesses in tangible ways? Ask yourself things like, how will this thing that I'm doing help them relieve stress or find joy? Just as an example. How can they use their newfound skills to enhance themselves, their homes, their life, or make money? And how might it, learning these things, whatever it might be, affect their self-esteem or sense of accomplishment? What emotional or psychological benefits will they experience? How will students feel after completing a painting or making progress, etc., right? So you're asking yourself this, you're jotting down notes, you're writing down the questions. If there's a question you don't know the answer to at any time throughout this video, just write the question or put a little note to come back to this. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a link to this entire process, but you have to, in order for you to get the link, you have to go to the end of the video. You have to watch the entire video to know exactly where to get it. But you'll have it afterwards, and you'll have the manifesto I talked about to print out and put on your wall, put on your desk, put in front of you so that you have that North Star. Now, At the end of this section, you're going to know the problem. You're going to know how your solution is different, how it benefits in a measurable way, how it's tangible, and how it's emotionally beneficial. These are all super important. Again, this process is what people pay me thousands of dollars as private clients to learn, and I'm teaching it to you right now for free, these questions. The last section of this part of it, there's still more to come, is why you over the competitor. So you've learned who your target audience is. You've learned what their pain points are, or you've thought through it, and you're going to ask yourself that. You're understanding how your product or service does solve those problems, but why you and not something else? Do you have a particular method or framework that simplifies the process? Are your lessons delivered in a way that is fits into a busy lifestyle? Shorter videos, audio. Is it super clear to understand, right? Do you provide personal feedback? Is there a supportive community that others don't offer? The answer is yes when you do memberships the way we do memberships. Okay, so you could have a hands-on personal approach. You could have a simplified technique, and you could have flexible learning. Some people in Arlan's All Access are going through every single video, asking questions, doing all of that. Some people are taking 30 minutes a day, and they're going to learn from it. Some people are like, I'm going to come in once or twice a week, and I'm going to do a deep dive. Some people are like, I'm going to come in maybe once a week, touch base, learn one really great thing, and then bounce, and I'll be back next week. It is a flexible learning situation that you can implement in your own community. Now, here's the part that I think is so important and so fun to think about. And I think this is the core of everything. So if you've made it this far, write the word core, C-O-R-E, core in the comments to let me know that you're at this point, because this is what's going to set you apart from so many people. This is the secret sauce right here, is how does your personal experience or story help build trust and connect you with your audience on a deeper level? I talk to so many of our Arlan's All Access members, either one-on-one or in small groups. And they have these incredible stories about these backstories, like just absolutely incredible. And they don't know they're sitting on a gold mine until we start really pulling that out, saying, actually, what in your life has made you get to this point in your life? What do you wish you knew 10 years ago? What do you wish people knew about you? These are the types of things you can start to ask yourself. Because everybody who comments on my videos and says, I don't know what to do, what to offer. I don't think I have anything to offer. I don't have a special skill. You have a unique lived experience that no one in the entire world has. I want you to hear me, if you've kind of spaced out a little bit, or if you're, rapidly writing down, I want you to hear this. You have a unique lived experience that literally no one else in the world has, because we're all different. Even if someone grew up with you or is your twin or has a very similar story, you went to the same school, they did not have the exact day-to-day life that you did. Therefore, your lived experience and your unique experience is yours and yours alone, and it's an asset. Write the word asset, A-S-S-E-T. I'm hoping that's how you spell it. It is. Asset. I should know that word very easily. Write the word asset in the comments if you understand what I'm talking about. What's your story with the thing you're trying to offer? Did you struggle in the beginning like your students are now? This could be the breakthrough for you, everyone. This could be the breakthrough. What do you wish you knew a few years ago? What would you offer yourself 5 years ago or 10 years ago? For me, I was like, I wish somebody would tell me the step-by-step of starting a venture fund in this landscape where I'm a Black gay woman from the South with no connections and no money. I wish there was a step-by-step guide. And you know what? I now offer that. I now have a membership for that. I have several memberships. And one of them is for that. Because I can go back and say, what would I have needed 10 years ago? This is the breakthrough moment. If this is the breakthrough moment for you, let me know in the comments. This is how we interact with each other. Let me know in the comments. Or when you join Arlan's All Access, DM me when you join and tell me this was the moment that you knew that there was something, that you had to do something. It was no longer a question. You had to make a difference and take action. What breakthroughs have you had that make you a great teacher for beginners, or for even, doesn't even have to be for beginners. Yours could be, I am talking to people who are further along in their careers and people think they just have it all together and they don't. And that there's other struggle that you have to have once you get to this point in life, because it's lonelier up here, right? There's no manual for this. I want to be the manual for it. How long have you been doing the thing, and what experience or credentials can you share? If you have credentials, if you have that, that's really where you can shine right now. For instance, I started painting 5 years ago with zero experience. I struggled to find beginner-friendly resources that didn't make me feel overwhelmed. Now I teach people like you how to avoid these same pitfalls. Or I've sold over 50 paintings and held 3 solo art shows, but it wasn't always this way. I learned from scratch, and I know exactly what it feels like to be a total beginner. ... Right? It does, your personal story not only shows you where it shows you've been where your students are, but it also gives them a reason to believe that you are the right person to help them reach their goals. I hope you're writing this down. I hope you're rocking with me. Let me know. So then there's a couple of things you can do to even make this stronger, a stronger offer. What guarantees or proof can you offer to build trust? Okay. So for instance, can you offer a satisfaction guarantee, like a money back or a free trial? Free trials are something that work. Money back guarantees, when certain things are done. Some people have like a no questions asked after 72 hours. If you don't like it, you can get your money back. And that really builds trust, right? And if you do a good job inside the membership, then that shouldn't be a big problem. You might have a few people who refund, but not most. Some people say you have to get to a certain point and do a certain level of things, and this is the list. It ranges. But can you do that? You don't have to, but it does add to the conversion of people who do buy in, because they feel like, oh, okay, I don't feel foolish. I feel like there's some safety net here. I'm going to give it a chance. The second thing is, do you have testimonials or success stories or a portfolio that demonstrates the quality of work? Now, if you're very much so in that place where you feel like I don't have anything to show for it, this is just the beginning, then what you're going to do is you're going to have a free membership, and you're for people to join, and you're going to learn with them, and you're going to build over time. You're going to work with people for free and build over time the skill so that you can get these things. You can get the testimonials, you can get the success stories. Did you hear that part? That's really important. If you feel like I don't know where to start, because so many people have written in my comments, I don't know where to start. I don't think I have a skill or a talent or I can help people. This is the hack. You start a free membership, which I teach you how to do in Arlan's All Access. You do something that is very valuable, but you're learning with them, and you're telling them we're learning this together. Your audience, your members. It's free to them, so they're cool with that. You have a little baby step ahead of them, so you can help them slightly because you have so much interest in it, because you're willing to do the work. You work with some of them for free, or with the group for free. Start to help them have success stories. And then use those success stories and those testimonials that they give you to bring in now more paid people down the line. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense to you. Shake your head and nod your head if it makes sense, or leave a comment. Okay. Do you have certifications or experience that further validate? So many people who watch my videos are PhDs, doctors, lawyers. They have MBAs. They're all sorts of things. I don't know why the word anthropologist went into my head, but maybe I met someone recently who was. You all have some of these receipts. Not everybody, but some of you do. And I want you to brag, and I want you to say, look, there's no imposter syndrome in this house. We don't have time for it. Do I or do I not want in 12 months to be making 6 figures? from this. If I don't, cool, I can have all the imposter syndrome in the world. But if I do, I'm going to have to put one foot in front of the other. And I'm doing that here on the floor, one foot in front of the other. And I'm going to have to break through those limiting beliefs. It's just going to happen, right? One step at a time. So you're building your portfolio, you're building your credentials, you're building those testimonials by offering something for free, if that's your lane. If you do have these things already, you can still make the decision, and I'll talk to you about that later, about free versus paid, and then there's ways to monetize both. So why would customers return to you or refer you to others after using your product? That's a huge signal. It's not just, I used it because your marketing was great or because you were slick in your salesmanship, but it's, I used it, it worked for me, and I need to tell as many people as possible about this because they need to see it too. So many people write to me on Arlan's All Access, and when you join, you get a message that says, how did you find me? And so many people say YouTube, but so many others say, my friend XYZ told me about Arlan's All Access, and I had to check it out because they love it so much. Happens all the time. Happened this morning. Happens all the time. So if you have something that people are loving, are they going out and telling the world about it? That's your signal. What long-term value do you offer that keeps students engaged? What makes your students feel personally connected to you? And how does the overall experience keep them loyal to your brand? We talk all about this in Arlan's All Access, by the way. You don't have to know these answers right now. It's just things I want you to think about. How do your brand's values align with your audience's values? Think about that. And then you're going to put it all together by thinking about your unique approach, your personal experience, which is so important, the trust and the proof, loyalty and referrals coming back to you, and the values alignment. Right? Now, there is a manifesto that I am going to give you. If you go to the link in my description, if you're in Arlan's All Access watching this, it's in the classroom where this video is. If you look in the link in my description, I will give you the full manifesto. You take the manifesto, you type in your own answers in the prompts, and then you print that out or make it your desktop page if you want to do it digitally. And you tape it to the wall, tape it to the front of your journal, put it on your desk, laminate it. If you laminate it, let me know, because that's rock star. Frame it. And yes, it may change. Yes, it may change, but you want to put a date on it. Put a date on the manifesto that you're going to have, because you want to be able to go back and say, that's what started things. And you might say, look, let me do a second one after a few months and see how much it's changed, or a few days or weeks and see how much it's changed. But you want to have that record, and you want to have that inspiration, and you want to understand, what do I offer? Now, if you're still having trouble, even though you've gone through this whole process, you're still having trouble putting the pieces together. What I want you to do is, one step is, I want you to go over the notes you wrote, and I want you to think about it for 1 or 2 days. I just want you to live with it for a little bit, because some things will come to you when you least expect it. I jump out of bed every morning with an idea because my brain did something overnight and kind of worked through some ideas, right? And we may relate to that. The second thing I want you to do is, I want you to know that in Arlan's All Access, I help you further refine this. Remember at the top, I said this was the deep dive version of the first part of this, the entire process of the first part of this major part. The other parts include working with other people, talking to other people, and that's kind of a special sauce, right? And that's what we do inside of Arlan's All Access. To kick things off, we find our unique value proposition, and then we take that information, and then we step by step start our membership, and then we just start, generating revenue, or start putting ourselves on the path to doing so in a few weeks, depending. So you're going to want to join Arlan's All Access, because here are some of the things that you're going to think through next. You're going to choose the right platform. I have my favorite, and I'll tell you about that. You're going to decide between free and paid models. You might be thinking, how do I make money with a free model? But maybe you've already seen some of my other videos where I talk about that. But you're going to decide between a free versus paid, or maybe even both. You're going to set your pricing if you do choose paid. You're going to create upsells to boost your revenue. And you may, figure out the pricing for those. You're going to organize your content and automate the process so that you can work on it for several hours to kick it off. But then on a month-to-month basis, you're not working on it for several hours anymore. You have a few key hours per month, and every single month you're growing and growing and growing in revenue. Now, it's a 12-month process inside of Arlan's All Access. It's not overnight. But I will tell you that in the first 2 months of doing this, I've personally made $100,000. I just celebrated my 2-month anniversary having the new version of my membership, and I have several now. And on that 2-month exact anniversary, I hit $100,000 in revenue. Now, this isn't going to be what everybody does. Some people will have a lot less, some people will have some more. But what it tells you is, the hard work I've put into this, because I'm doing this as an entrepreneur. I'm not investing in this. I'm not taking anybody's money from this. The hard work that I've put into this is paying off every single week. I get paid every week from the platform, and it's growing every single month and every single week. So you're going to put a lot of effort into it up front. And then now I get to watch General Hospital, because I love General Hospital, while I check in on my memberships. I think of it like tending to my garden, It's not like this thing of, oh God, I have to check in and do all this stuff. It's actually like I get to do some fun stuff. I get to have some great things. And the community is taking care of itself. They're talking to each other. I just mind it, I just cultivate it and nurture it like a garden. You're going to think about developing the marketing strategy, which will help you with the growth. If you don't have the marketing down, then none of this really matters, because people won't know how to find you. You're going to think about building your list, which I can help you with too. And then building a retention plan, because if people leave, then that hurts too. Now, people will leave, and they leave, for different reasons. They can't afford it anymore. They're not getting enough value out of it. It's taking up too much time, or they just simply they change their minds. So you're not going to be able to completely close that off, but I can get your numbers lower, right? I can get that retention higher and your churn numbers lower. So the next step I want you to do, I mentioned before, is I want you to go over all of your notes. I want you to give me some feedback in the comments. Ask me questions in the comments if you still have them, and I'll try to address them in the next videos. And then go to Arlan's All Access. Go to the links below that will teach you how to go to the next step. And I've I've seen some pricing for other schools, other memberships, and they're doing something similar or a little bit different, than what I'm doing. And they're in the thousands of dollars per year. I even have one that's a high ticket offer that's discounted to $4,999. So discounted to $5,000. I even have one. This Arlan's All Access is today, could change and probably will change, but it's today $100 per month, just $100, just $100. Or you can do the yearly and save 50% off. So it's like my guarantee to you is that if you do everything I teach you in 12 months, you'll be making $100,000 yearly revenue at the end of the 12 months, or I'll refund your money if you do everything that I tell you to do. The investment is like $600 to $1,200 for my membership, and then the platform that you'll use for yours. So it's like, $1,000, $2,000 in a 12-month period versus $100,000. Get with it. Let's do it. I can't wait to hear from you. I hope this helped you. I hope this helped you have some clarity and also have the confidence to know that you can do this. There's so many people out there. Let me leave you with this. There's so many people out there who have had different privileges in life, different experiences in life. That's nothing bad. It's just the truth, right? And they have a strong voice in this world. They have a megaphone in front of their mouths, and they're saying things that maybe you don't agree with or don't think should be out in the world. You have the opportunity to put the megaphone up to your mouth with this in a way that we've never had before. We have the technology, we have the ability, the access, the instructions, we have the platforms. You now can have as much of a voice as the rogue billionaire who you don't agree with. And I'm being very personal. You may agree with the rogue billionaire, but you know what I mean. And it doesn't matter what your race is, your age, your orientation, your gender, if you believe in genders. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you want to say something in the world. Like, for instance, somebody watching this may start a membership that I don't agree with, that I don't like. But the fact that we have the ability to do that is something very special to me. And there's an integrity and an honor there that I really, really like and respect. So I hope this helped you. And I hope that you do something with it. I can't wait to meet so many of you who tell me that you started from this video. And when you join Arlan's All Access, make sure you DM me and say, this is the video. This very video is the one that made me say, yep, I got to start something. I have to do something with my life and I have to take it to a next level.